Hello. Hello. What's up? All right. We got the tiniest bit of Iowa caucus results. Only a smidgen. Only a smidgen of Iowa caucus results. Which is hilarious, but what are you going to do? It's the DNC we're talking about. So our boy Bernie is up in both the first and second round, but Buttigieg is winning, which is interesting. But we'll see how it comes out. Bernie's biggest places have yet to fully given out their totals. Where he has the biggest gains, he has yet to get. They have yet to give out their biggest total. So, is a possibility he could 100% still catch up when it comes to the delegate count. It's probably going to be a much closer race. So I think it's going to be within a percentage point, probably, but we'll see. We 110%. We'll see. So let me open up my Twitch arena. My hair. I did my hair today, so it's a little flat. Yeah, pick that hair up. Look at that. Come on, hair. Work with me today. Ink and Teeth, nice to see you. How you doing? Good evening. You doing well today? Hope you had a good day. Did you see any of the Iowa caucus results? Did you see those fun little Iowa caucus results that we had coming in? I want to make sure I keep my Discord open. I don't want to miss anything. Yes, I am playing Dungeon. Been avoiding it. It's probably for the best. Not even gonna lie to you. That's a smart move right there. Okay, so we're gonna be playing I won't spoil it for you then. We're gonna be playing a little bit of Gungeon, and then about 24 minutes from then, Mecasloth should be about ready to talk. He's busy washing dishes, doing the housework, so let's not disturb his peace. Yeah, it's some good stuff. I was wanting to talk about this. This is how I found this whole community in the first place. I was looking up some stuff on Twitter, and I was just coming in. Oh no, it's fine. I could stop. No, I could stop. We could talk right now. That's fine. I was busy for a little bit. My dogs needed me. They needed my attention. A father's work is never done. Because a Gungeon run is a commitment. It's a long-term relationship, So I'm done. I can ditch it whenever I'm needed. Let me stop for a second. You're getting called homophobic by pizza porters from my spicy Twitter. Ooh, see, this is why the boy never logs into Twitter. I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter so much. It makes my skin crawl. I look at it and I'm like, I didn't know human beings could sink to this low of such low cognitive ability. I shouldn't say that. Sink this low. You can't stand Twitter. I shouldn't say that. That was poor. I didn't mean to say that. What's a good way to frame that? Sink this low to be so partisan, because it's all partisan. All these people who are just championing Biden, championing Pete, they're people who base their almost entire identity, especially political identity, when it comes to just being a Democrat. You'll see their bios, and it'll just be Democrat, firefighter, whatever, and then like father of mom of however many. I like my dogs, and right there, big words, Democrat. Thank you, Lin Wu, for the follow. I appreciate that. So that's kind of ridiculous. Go and pee and be right back. No problem. Yeah, Twitter's actually garbage. When I go on stream to talk about something I saw on Twitter, was sent to on Twitter, I'm always logged out. I hate it. It's terrible. Actually garbage. Not even. And the worst part about Twitter is that garbage gets dragged onto your own feed. This doesn't happen on YouTube. Welcome back. Yeah, you can start a call with me whenever you need. Because even with my Twitter, right? My Twitter was like, it was small artists, it was Bernie Sanders, and it was, I don't know, just like cosplay. Hello? Oh wait a second. You're coming through my speaker for some reason. What the heck? Hello? Test. Oh no. Just 1 second. I can't hear you. Don't switch. Hello? Can you hear me? I am much louder. Okay. Do I still sound about the same, but just loud? Yeah. I had turned you up 200%. Oh, my bad. I'm trying to get you. I can't get you to come through my headphones. Wait a second. I think I know what the problem is. Sound settings. Here we go. Just 1 second. I can't hear you. Just in case if you're talking. Really, you're gonna do this to me? Okay. What I'm probably gonna have to do is switch headsets, because this is gonna be really mad. Check with output. Okay. Can you hear me right now? Oh, I can't. I'm so mad. Yes, output to my headphones. Here, I'll be right back. I can't hear anything. Am I deafened or anything? Yeah, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. This is my bad. I'm always on Discord. Why is it messing up now? Real streamer. Heck yeah. Welcome to the stream. I can hear you, but you're still coming through my. Oh no. Oh no. It's not left the stream without technical difficulties. Oh, it's really. It's really not. Okay. What I know exactly what to do here. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm gonna grab some. I'm just gonna grab some straight earbuds because, uh, yeah, I know it's gonna. It's coming down to the wire. Okay, so I'll be back. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. All the time in the world.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'll be right back. Yes, yes, I'm getting up. I'm standing up. It's incredible. I know. You rarely see me use my legs. I hate this so much. I don't even know which one goes in the right ear. I think this is right. Okay. Hello?
Test,
Test.
test.
Say something. I'm just I'm just astonished. I can't hear anything this whole time. Turn the volume up. Wait, is it? Wait. Wait 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe I should just quit streaming, honestly. Maybe I should just quit streaming. It's not meant for me. It's not meant for me. Yes, I can hear you. You know why I couldn't hear you?
Why?
Because I have Discord muted.
You know what? We've all been there.
Really? Have you? Have you really? You can hear your.
I've
You can hear
I've
him.
absolutely muted the website I was trying to watch something on before.
And you're just
And
sitting there like, what's going on?
what the fuck is going on? Why can't I hear anything? Oh yeah, I have Twitch muted.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, really. Let me remind you. Um, I have 2 certifications in technology through a college. Um, so this just this is the level of just turn it on, turn it back off again. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god. Well, first off, it's all right. We all have technical difficulties.
Y-
And
Yes, yes.
I figured out why my internet is fucking up tonight.
I'd love to know.
Uh, so my motherboard didn't come with a
He's
Wi-Fi chip.
quiet. Okay.
My motherboard didn't come with a Wi-Fi chip for some fucking reason, and so we had to buy an adapter. And so I was getting like kilobit internet this morning, and I just unplugged it and replugged it back in, and now it's been working fine.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
sounds terrible. You've been struggling a lot with your internet, huh?
Oh yeah. So like the place I'm at right now is not wired for internet and is not meant for internet, and I'm like 2 stories up from the nearest router,
Yeah,
and so I'm even before I was getting like 10 up, 1 down, or I'm sorry, 10 down, 1 up,
that's horrible.
but now I'm getting like 8 down, 2 up. So
Yeah, it's better. I'll take it.
it's
We
better up.
Yeah, we switched to we switched to another one of the beautiful internet monopoly service providers in our area. We're a new development, so they just appeared, and
Oh no. Oh, you're
yeah, I mean they're slightly better. You know, they go out every now and again, even though we live pretty close to a major city. But you know, who cares about actually providing for your customers?
who's keeping track?
No one, no one, and no one cares either. But okay, so I bring all of you here today because me and Mecasloth and I have had some disagreements. And the main disagreement comes from your stream. What was the title again, if you remember?
It was like ableism and left using Vosh as an example.
Yes, using Vosh as an example. And I remember you, hey Splat, what's up, bud? And I know you wanted to go back. You wanted to remake that video and probably talk less about Vosh if I'm correct.
Yeah, there have been some shit. There has been some shit that has happened since Vosh that makes this all seem very trivial, in my opinion. But I'm still willing to do this.
Yeah, no problem. I just thought it was an interesting. I just thought it was an interesting talk, mostly because it calls back to some other things that I've seen. I'm not sure if I should take this in complete order. But one thing that I agreed with, because one thing I want to do here is I didn't want this to be like a complete like total like debate thing. I agree with you on a decent amount of stuff that you said. One thing is you can be ableist and disabled 100%. This is very true. Incredibly true statement. If you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, so this is something I try to talk about, especially with dealing with disabled people, but also LGBT people. Is we can still be using our own phobias against phobias or phobics. We can still use our own prejudices against others of the same subset. Like I can still be ableist against disabled people, and I was absolutely ableist against mentally disabled people for a long time. And I could be homophobic against gay people. I mean, fuck, transphobes exist, and a lot of them are LGBT as well, or LGB.
No, go ahead. LGBT. Blair White exists.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. I totally fucking
Don't
forgot
you
about
walk that back.
Mecasloth canceled.
He canceled. The transes are attacking each other once again. The true devouring of the left, the great Ouroboros of the Communist Party, which is the left. But yeah, 100%. Especially those people who are like, when we try and point out something like, "Oh, Candace Owens is a piece of garbage, racist," and the like slow talker who's like, "Do you love black people?" What's his name? I forget his name. But yeah, he's You remember? I forget his name.
No, I'm trying to think of it
Which is
right now.
great. I'm so glad that I forgot his name. I hate him so much. If he can be burned from my memory and everything
Fucker.
that goes along with it, that'd be amazing.
I feel
But
that
no,
so.
yeah, Blair White is a transphobe. We know this. Every time someone tries to say something, oh, but he's trans. Every time someone says that, I just pull up that video where this trans woman disagreed with her, and then she photoshopped a beard onto her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like we might be seeing Cat Black go like a similar route if it turns out in 3 months she's not. Be sure to clip this and send this at me and be like, "Hey Nathan, you're wrong."
Okay, I'll remember it. Somebody clip that. But no, definitely. This is a major point of agreement. One thing that you said was I'm not sure if you were referring to Vosh or ContraPoints when you said they were a transphobic slash NB phobe, but
Um, Uh, so if I remember correctly, Vosh had, at that point when I was doing the video, I had uh, sort of traces of Vosh being transphobic, but in true Mecasloth fashion, I forgot to pull them up because, but I know Contra's had some yikes shit about NBs.
I remember I reading some of those tweets about non-binary people, and personally, as the purest cis of the het human beings on the planet, I'm like a super saiyan. All right, I'm a super cis, but
Come on,
but
you just need to go vegan, then you'll have superpowers.
honestly, I'm on the cusp of greatness. But I remember reading that, and I didn't see what the bulk of the problem was. If you could personally explain that to me, what you
Um,
felt was the problem with what she said.
So a lot of it was like, let me actually pull up. If anybody in my chat has the tweets to the Contra stuff, please send them at me. I'm going to try to find the exact wording again because it's been what 4 months at this point,
It's been quite some time.
and it's fucking Tuesday, and I thought it was Friday
You
today.
thought it was a Friday?
I mean, like last night was hell. So there's absolutely this one where she says, whereas I've met 20-year-olds in full on boy mode who are like, hi, a trans woman, she, her pronouns. I think there's a gap in the understanding as a result. The younger generation sometimes get frustrated with me because they don't understand my upbringing or how I do things. And in turn, I sometimes have difficulty understanding them. It's pretty strange, really, since the age difference is like not much wider than senior freshmen, but it's still a world of difference. Things are definitely better now, and mind blowing to think of what has happened in the last decade. I read the full quote there just for context,
Yeah, I have it
but
up.
I'm going to focus on. I'll also link this. I'm going to focus on that first one. Whereas I've met 20-year-olds in full-on boy mode who are like, "Hi, I'm a trans woman, she, her pronouns." Now, this is very, very transphobic in my opinion because I have very close friends who are not out right now but are trans, who are in situations that are critically dangerous for them to be out and open about their transness to their family, and uh, disregarding their attempts to, or not attempts, but disregarding the few times that they're coming out is a real shit move. And like I wish Dario was in chat right now because one of her friends was essentially bullied into not being trans anymore because a lot of people were just sending them, I think it would be them, just fucking hate mail all the time because uh, trying they were trying to transition but they can't be fully out because of their parents.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And another thing to tie back to that is a little bit of a tangent, but like lots of people who are probably most likely transphobic, bring up what is it, the detransitioning rate, and they fail to understand that a lot of that is just because they're in a bad situation, and it's just safer for them to
Oh
detransition.
yeah, absolutely. A trans uh Detransitioning is very much, from my point of view. Granted, I am also cis, so I am not the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's two cis men trying to talk about trans issues, but
Sounds beautiful to me. This is America.
uh, it is definitely like, I would like to see uh, how much of that is because they're trying to stay safe in their IRL environment.
You can be a guest on trans issues. You know what? I'll remember to keep that in mind. If I
Yeah,
ever
let me,
have any ideas or if I ever want to brush up on my trans knowledge, I'll definitely make sure to call the Linwu bat signal.
yeah, Linwu is a great smaller trans streamer. I would highly suggest her.
Sounds beautiful to me. What I would like to talk about with this one is that in the second part of this tweet, she brings up, which is what I would say not necessarily. It gets into like the realm of those sort of people who, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those fascists, right? Who come in, they'll come into like chat or something, they'll come into like a thread about something, and they'll ask a bunch of like really bad faith questions where everyone knows that they're on the side of like the fascist side, but then they keep playing devil's advocate and
Mhm.
advocate all the time, where they want to like suspend disbelief. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
I know this could sound like that, but in the second part is where she brings up, I
And
think, her understanding that she doesn't understand, which
yeah,
is
and
something I don't want to hate on too hard. Even if this first part, where it's like, whereas I've met 20-year-olds in full boy mode who are like, hi, I'm trans, she, her pronouns. I know a lot of, there's like a gray area when it comes to like how much performity plays into the trans experience and things of that nature, playing into, you know, what society expects of you. But I
I would
think in a lot of these tweets, it mostly comes down to her expressing frustration or curiosity in the sort of not understanding the other side and feeling like from another, you know, generation of trans people. So I would like to know what you feel about that.
so I want to point out that uh uh Natalie has been openly trans as long as I have been openly bisexual.
Yeah, and
Uh
she was non-binary as well.
yes, and like uh but this sounds very much like a boomer argument where I'm not
Yes.
understanding these kids, and so therefore uh well, most boomer arguments would go, therefore they're wrong. Although
Mhm.
this one gives
I don't feel
more
like there's no prescriptive
ambiguity,
statement here, but at the same time, that could also be a statement.
uh, and like even from this boomer standpoint, this is still very wrong because there were still women who were presenting male but were absolutely a trans woman. And as Ing points out, she isn't from another generation of trans people.
Oh, she's
She
not.
is
No.
part of this trans
What is she like?
generation.
25?
I think so. I think it's even younger, to be honest. But I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm 21. So
Keiko, K or Sam K Kona brother.
hey,
No, same
hey, let's
brother
go.
K Kona. There we go.
I was I my birthday was actually January. So
No shit. Happy birthday.
thank you,
What
thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
what did you drink?
Happy birthday. Say again.
What did you drink on your birthday if you
What did
did?
I drink? Same thing I've been drinking for the last 10 years. No, I'm joking. I had a bottle of a really nice tequila that I bought. It was
Oh,
very
nice.
nice. Yes, I had a really nice bottle of tequila. I watered some plants. I cleaned my room. It was a very nice birthday. My parents got me they're gonna give me a camera lens to go on my camera. Right now
Oh,
they
cool. I didn't
yeah
know.
yeah I helped pitch in for this. I'm not sure if you're watching stream, but it's a Fujifilm XTI. I love photography,
Oh
so
no, I didn't know that.
so yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that, and hopefully after that I'm gonna be doing some more photo shoots because I love photo shoots. You think she's about 30? She's about 30. Still, because there was another tweet that came out, and it was about her feeling like what are your let me ask, what are your ideas on like the more binary trans view and the non-binary trans view?
So, I would preface this argument by saying all uh pretty much all trans experiences that are like not like Blair, excluding their own excluding other trans or non-binary people are absolutely valid. Uh, and how do I want to word this? Yeah, I would just say valid. Because like I can feel that it's so a lot of the transphobia within the trans community is actually like uh, even though I fucking hate class reductionism, very classist, where a lot of trans people who have transitioned, including surgery and everything, are uh, putting passing as the ultimate goal when for oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I just had a burp there. When for a lot of trans people, that goal is unattainable at the moment and for the foreseeable future, and so uh, it can reinforce this idea of reinforce this kind of dangerous idea that the binary is something to achieve to instead of the non-binary.
Yes,
The
and
like the
I
lack
feel
of
like,
binary.
sorry, let me cut in just for a second. Um, and I feel like this is what can this disconnect can lead to a lot of hatred for those who do not pass. Am I correct there?
Mhm. Absolutely. Teeth is one of my good friends who's non-binary and says also for someone like myself, passing is not the end goal.
Yeah, pass. What is? Could I ask what is the end goal?
Um, I mean, Teeth is in the chat, and they're better to speak on this right
Yeah,
now
no
than I
problem.
am, to be honest.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Because like the end goal is different for everybody, in my opinion. Like I know one of my good friends is wanting to transition fully, is wanting, or well, fully is, and uh, like uh getting a on HRT to get bigger breasts. Uh, but I know for others, like ink and teeth, it's not really passing.
Yes, I wanted to kind of
Maybe.
I would if you would like to answer MX, I would love to read it. I would
Mix.
like to parlay this into a little bit of wondering. So, what do you think about the outrage, the quote unquote canceling of Contra? What do you think that
At, okay, so at first I thought it was kind of bullshit. Like it was a bullshit tweet, but also it was kind of an overreaction, kind of like my own with the apparently very old Vosh clip. But then my anger at it, or anger, disappointment,
frustration?
yeah, frustration, thank you, at it actually came way later when she came back onto Twitter and gave that bullshit non-apology where she was like, if if I ever do anything wrong again, shoot me, because I've been in relationships where that was a manipulation tactic.
Yes, really interesting. That's
Yeah. And if you don't mind, I can read this off from Mix
yeah,
Scale. By the way,
yeah,
it's
no
pronounced
problem. Go
Mix.
ahead.
It's
Mix
really about
scale. Okay, remember
Mix.
mix scale. I
Like
remember.
yeah, it's really just about feeling comfortable with myself, which for me is looking different enough that people stop thinking and rather than just automatically assigning me man or woman. I mean, I've joked about this before, but if I could disconnect myself from the meat space, I would absolutely just be a floating cube
Mm-hmm.
because floating cubes don't need to deal with politics.
It's kind of badass. I can't float. So that's really interesting. And what is your end goal of being a man? Obviously, the end goal of being a man is to collect as many women as possible, like Pokemon, into my Pokedex. Um, that's a really interesting point. I'll make sure to introspect about that. I really like this so far. This is fun.
Yeah.
Um, one thing that you brought up is you said Contra is rich enough to be banned off of YouTube. So
Did I say that?
you did actually.
I don't.
In the
I actually didn't remember that.
No, like I remember I writing down stuff. There's stuff that I
Oh no, I
like
don't
hyperbolized
disagree
on.
with you, but that's I don't disbelieve you, but that's just funny in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. No, there's some stuff that I wrote down that I hyperbolized on, but a lot of the things that I would like to talk about were like direct quotes. I made sure to put those in quotes because the last thing I wanted to do was misrepresent your points, especially from something that was like a couple weeks ago, where you don't
Yeah.
necessarily both remember everything that transpired.
So she is absolutely rich, in those words, rich enough to be banned off of YouTube. She makes something around, at the very low end, $300,000 a year off of Patreon. That's double what my dad makes now after, God, so many years. Um, that's not including sponsorships. That's not including uh, pretty much anything else. Like YouTube ad money, YouTube super chats, that which by the way YouTube takes 50% of all super chat money, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
Um, it's not including anything else, and that's the very low end. She is probably making. Or wait, was it chat? Remind me, was it $300,000 a month or a year?
it was a year.
It was a year. Okay,
$300,000 a month is like some big money. That's a little
fucking
much.
Jeff Bezos money.
That's a little much from YouTube. That's
And
something
that's
like that's closer
no,
to
that's
probably
not.
what PewDiePie makes.
That's Patreon money. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
Patreon money.
include YouTube. And
More
that's
like
the very, very, very low end where we don't know what else is going on in her finances.
true.
She is comfortably within the 50% top, or not top 50, top 1% of the United, or I think it's actually top 2%.
Something along those lines. Not
Yeah,
1%
and
rich. I don't believe yet.
I
Maybe with a
wouldn't
couple
disbelieve
more
it.
Buck Angel appearances, she'll get there.
And sorry, I was moving away from my microphone to put down my water glass. Uh, uh, Granted, this is before uh, paying whoever she has on her team, but I really doubt that she is paying anything more than anything that would actually put her within like the top 50% of Americans. I think she's still within top 10 or 20%.
Yeah, probably. YouTubers, content creators. Once you get up there, you make a decent chunk of change. I don't think we don't have to argue about that too much. We can understand that. But I kind of feel like this is more of like a non sequitur, in the sense that I don't really care how much money she makes when it comes to the content she puts out. She could be making nothing. She could get all her money from her rich oil baron of a father who pays for everything because he's a helicopter dad and he whatever you want, sweetheart. So that really doesn't matter to me when it comes to this. But I can see, obviously if this was happening to a much smaller streamer, maybe you or someone who moves up even further and actually makes a living, this sort of thing that would, I don't know, like cause you great mental distress from being attacked on the internet could probably be, more something to probably speak out about. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, sorry, I was just doing math in my head, kind of, and a calculator.
I
It
hate
is
math.
300,000. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, that's some
And
money.
like,
That's some cash.
so my thing is that I'm not so much caring about how much money she makes. I more care about the fact that she's not promoting anybody else with her following. Like, have you been watching what Thought Slime has been doing?
I've never got into Thought Slime. Actually, I've only figured out about them a couple months ago.
Oh, no shit. So he does a thing now where he promotes a small lefty content creator in the middle of his videos so that people can go watch them. And pretty much since I've been starting Twitch as a political analyst, oh god, that's weird to say. Uh,
Me as a
I've
YouTube
said that
Twitch analyst.
To a YouTube channel.
Twitch analyst. We should be distributing our followers between and promoting each other because I don't want us to be social capitalists. Like I have actually left a Twitch like group because it was catered to social capitalism, and I was like, I don't want to fucking deal with that. sure, I might be good at it, but that's not what I want to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
So, yes, go ahead.
and so my frustration a lot with a lot of BreadTube though, which I know that you look at my Twitter every so often.
Every once in a while.
My frustration with BreadTube is not really the figures in it, although I fucking hate Coffin. Uh, it is really more that they're not promoting anybody. They're not sharing their social capital at all.
Mm-hmm. I would think because things do get harder once you start moving up, right? But you're still just a regular person. You could always, log on to YouTube or whatever, type in something about trans issues, and then scroll through, find someone with like 10 views, uh, and then collect them and promote them. But
Oh yeah,
yes, go ahead.
that's pretty much exactly what Izzy Bear 713 does. Is she scours and looks for people in the LGBT tag who aren't really doing that hot and are from an underrepresented group, and tells her followers to go follow them.
Yes, definitely. I would see, but I can see 100% how someone with a best part of Butterhouse is mutual raid. Heck yeah. I could see how someone with a much larger following can easily be dissuaded from doing this, though. Would you agree?
I mean, I can see it, but I would rather BreadTube. I
Butter
almost
whore.
fucking I would rather BreadTube take that risk than not take that risk. Because sure, you might get somebody who is somebody like, I think it's Bad Mouse, who turned out to be a Maoist. Like every once in a while, but you also have people like Elke Historiker, who is a good friend of mine and is a black anarcho communist person talking about labor history in the Deep South.
Yeah, definitely. I think shouting out smaller creators is always good. I just feel like it's kind of hard, especially when you get that big. And I don't want to be like, oh, the whole the cancel culture boy, but a lot of the times, especially when on the Twitter space and a lot of other places, if you slip up, it kind of sticks with you. I mean, we all remember the situation, and I'm not bringing this up to like a giveaway, like a wave away, the uh, PewDiePie's role in pushing. Hey, Tabby, nice to see you. Pushing away PewDiePie's role in promoting like a neo-Nazi, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of hard when you get that big. Oh, hey, Coral, to push forward someone without thoroughly looking through their content. Like, imagine if I turned out to be, I don't know, like a turf or something, right? And then you promoted me, you put me all, you shouted me out on your Twitter.
I would come and fucking fight you, person to person.
True, 100%. You have to find me first, but that's something that it kind of be hard to live down, especially if you're a bigger creator, especially if a lot of people look up to you, because I personally agree. I would say that someone with a much bigger following has a bigger responsibility. I would even say probably if someone has a certain amount of followers on this platform or that platform, there should probably be some laws in place to control their conduct, because
this happened to me like really recently. So I had been promoting this creator. I won't say their name. I've been promoting them, and then they turned out to be complete assholes in the back room, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I have distanced myself fully from them. I've scrubbed any mention of them off of my shit. I mean, granted, like there's going to be times where there's going to be posts which I completely forgot to scrub, but I have absolutely totally disconnected them from my entire Twitch ecosystem.
True, and that's great. But I still feel like no matter what, that's going to be held against you and a mark against your record in the public eye. And for someone with a non-stable income, we could all remember like what happened to James Charles. Not to talk about anything about how happened to James Charles, but like the allegation thrown at him, even with like the information that was given with it, crushed him, right? And obviously he was able to bring it back. But 3 million subscribers in a day, people who waited hours. I'm talking. I remember with my girlfriend at the time, she was talking about a James Charles. Oh no, she was talking about a James Charles makeup thing that came out, and people waited like 3 hours, 5 hours in line to get it. Burned it that day, threw it away, gave it back. That's how strongly people felt about that. Now, obviously, not everything is going to be this bad, but still, that one thing can be held against you, and people are still talking about how he's like a rapist. So, I can understand your frustration with that, but I can really empathize with the other side, where most of the time it's easier just not to take that. It's easier not to take that path.
I understand, and this is coming from very much like as a small Twitch streamer who has really nothing to lose and everything to gain, and being like, "Hey, I would, um, ma'am, may I please have a crumb of clout?"
spare clout, spare clout, please. Yeah, like I can definitely see that, but I think at the end of the day, when it's like your income on the line, if that was me in that spot, I definitely like to shout out smaller creators, and I do when smaller creators come in and they're like, hey, I like to stream something like that. I love that. That's how I got started with a couple of people, but it's just so hard to keep it up. You see, whatever we think about PewDiePie is the biggest creator on the platform. He's not gonna be shouting out he's not gonna be shouting out anybody anymore, ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, in my opinion, for PewDiePie at least, good.
Sure, but like, let's imagine he's someone else. Let's imagine it's you, right?
Okay.
Even then, I would still find it hard, right? If articles. Now I know this isn't the only situation, right? That's happened with PewDiePie, and I have a whole thing about PewDiePie. But let's say this is the only thing that happens. You shout out a literal neo-Nazi. In his spare time, he hangs small dolls of black people in his room to his fan and spins it around and watch them fly off. This is how he spends his pastime, but you didn't see it. It was an older video, and he only talks about it on his other channel, on his whatever, what is it, like Bitly or whatever. But and people dig through it, because as soon as you shout it out, people are gonna dig through it, people are gonna find it, and people are gonna nail you on the wall to it. So I think it's just hard. It's definitely hard.
Again, like I've been through a much smaller situation, and even though I didn't name them in the post, I said I fucked up and I'm sorry about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should also respond. Now obviously a lot of those situations as well, the people were reluctant to acquiesce to the to the broader.
That's another thing I don't really like about RedTube, is like, and not a lot of them just apologize. Like, I wouldn't be as mad again, frustrated with Contra if she just fucking apologized and didn't wrap it in, like, wrap it in the rhetoric that she did, or not rhetoric, language. Yeah. Sorry.
No, yeah, I can definitely see that, and I'm not of the opinion that Contra did nothing wrong. I think a lot of her posts about non-binary people, she could have probably worded better, or not said it all, and thought it over privately with like a friend or something, or like someone from her community, or a couple people from her community probably who are non-binary. I think an inside view from the people's minds themselves, instead of I really don't like the people who use their Twitter timeline as just like a thought dump for their brain. They just, like, whatever comes to their head, they're just gonna tweet it. I mean, no matter what. I kind of do that, but no, I mean, just the type of people who, yeah, it's like once every hour there are 10 tweets that come out that are completely disassociated from each other. It's like watching a live readout from someone's brain, just like in like 50 years from the future, like what they're actually thinking. It's crazy.
See, I find that kind of interesting in its like own literary way, where it's like Because one of my favorite authors of all time is Jack Kerouac, even though
Mm-hmm.
he's from the 50s and has all the baggage of a man from the 50s. But his literary style was stream of conscious. And so I find that sort of Twitter style curious to look at from afar.
Shit tweaking. Yeah. 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 Definitely. In this, have you seen that guy who's like, I broke up with my wife. My wife's cheating on me. I cheated on my wife. She's mad. I don't know why. I bought a sex doll. My wife told me not to. I took a trip to Japan with my sex doll. No one likes me. Like, and he's just like making videos about the most like narcissistic human being in the whole world. I don't want to be like armchair psychology, but oh no, this guy, he's either playing a bit or he needs to talk to a therapist. I don't know if you saw that guy, but he's wild. Get off Twitter. Everybody get off Twitter. Honestly, if we get off Twitter, I think the world's mental health will shoot up by at least 3 points. IQ as well. Uh, no, I definitely feel you there. Um, it was interesting. Um, one thing, there's something else I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Tavi. One thing, I agree with you there that a lot of people um, should probably say sorry for something that they did. I know a lot of people. It's very hard for regular people to do that, and these are still regular people at the end of the day, just with massive followings, which I think is kind of dangerous. It's quite dangerous, actually. But
If you don't mind, I'm going to
yes,
go use the bathroom and get an extra glass of water.
yeah, no
Because
problem.
apparently I'm fucking 80 years old and have the bladder of one. So
Have
I'll be
fun.
back in 2 seconds.
No problem. Don't get lost. Contra lost all my sympathy from you when her latest video so much in the harassment of anyone. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. When it comes to Tavi, when it comes to people who make public statements, and I would consider like a Twitter feed to be a public statement because anyone can just look up the tweet like verbatim. I watched it. I don't know how I feel about it. I could look up the tweet like verbatim and just find that person, right? Even if they, I don't know, a lot of people were talking about how she should have like blurred out the profiles and everything. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm at this point in time, I'm mostly of the opinion if you make a tweet on Twitter or like responding to someone, I can understand how it could be dangerous when you have like a bigger following. The harassment that person gets when you call attention to it. I recognize You recognize a lot of them. I recognize a couple of them. I was like, oh, it's you, because I when the whole Contra thing went down, I just typed in Contra points and then I saw some of the biggest tweets. And now obviously she took from like the biggest tweets and um you just find them right there. At the same time, the only way to really get around that is just to take the tweet and then write it differently, because the only way that because you could just write in a tweet verbatim and then the actual tweet will come up most likely.
Oh, I'm back.
Welcome back. We were
Anyway,
talking about Contra's non blurring of profiles in her video.
I mean, it wouldn't have helped, but I would have at least given the veneer of not wanting your fans to go after them.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you think? Let's say I don't know something happens. Let's say you're even bigger. You have 100,000 followers and 10 million subscribers. You're rich. You're uber rich, and someone makes let's say I don't know. You make a video of you dancing, and then someone says this dance is very reminiscent of a tribe that was wiped out by white people. I assume that you're white. We're all gonna assume that you're white here. Okay.
Yeah, I am white.
Yes. So this is a dance that's very reminiscent of an Aboriginal dance, and this Mecasloth is a racist, and she should have her have his platform removed. You know, and that happens, and then you make a stream, and do you think it's un? Do you think it's not right to scroll through your like type in your name and scroll through the Twitter feed there, and
I
comment
mean,
on what
so
you see?
I think before we even get to that point, I think it's
Yes.
a very dumb idea to name search yourself on Twitter if you're
Yeah.
big, because you're going to find a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, because
To
everybody's gonna have an opinion on you.
and like even without like if I was going to do a live stream about it, I only ever not blur out names when it's a public figure. So like Peter Coffin, Vosh, um, people who I'm criticizing, I should say. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I forget to block out, although I should. People who I'm reading from. Uh, I've read from Twitchy Spoonie, who is a uh, good Twitter person,
Yes.
but I don't block her stuff out because I want to promote her as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it would more be that I would need to curate,
You'd have
if that
to,
makes sense.
yeah, make sure you curate what you're putting out. No, I can definitely I see 100% where y'all are coming from, and I think I'd agree with like the tone that she had in the video. I watched the video. I didn't really like it that much.
To be
The
honest,
tone of the video definitely was pretty bad, especially um with the putting people in there. So I can definitely agree with that. I can see that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not of the opinion that ContraPoints has done no wrong ever. Like I think platforming Buck Angel is wrong. I think her defense of that was pretty weak as well. We use the same same argument against PewDiePie for platforming Ben Shapiro, right? So
oh
I don't
yeah,
think anybody should be let out of the hook just because they
and
have
also
someone on.
Buck Angel is particularly bad. Uh, fucking he outed Lana Wachowski before she was even out to the press, and like a bunch of other shit that is inexcusable in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And I, would agree. We shouldn't be platforming people like that. Um I'm not necessarily sold on Contra being I like a like Blair White level, Ben Shapiro level of transphobe who
I
we all hate now.
I don't think so either. Although Cat Black is definitely like again, if in 6 months it turns out to be totally wrong, send this clip to me and be like, "Hey, Mecasloth, you're wrong." But I'm I think Cat Black is starting to make this turn at the moment. I mean, let me go find the shit in my Discord about it. Not the sloth pit, but like personal Discord. I'll link it to you. Do you want the link through Discord or through?
You can send it
Uh,
through Discord. It's easy.
okay.
It's easier.
If it'll load. Um. Also, not to be I'll read it out for chat. Also, to not to be a total fucking bitch about this, but I would love it if half of you whining fuckers talking about how I'm bootlicking cis people would put yourself through half as much as I do, for as half as long to fight for trans people. Oh wait, no, this isn't the fucking impotence. 1 second.
I saw
Wait,
someone comment about this saying like a lot of people have like social anxiety or something along those lines, so they
sorry,
can't.
this is the tweet I was talking about. For me, one of the things that mm, general gender critical feminists, Jesus, I can't speak, say that
Turfs.
I find worth, yeah, it's terps, say that I find worth listening to is that quite a few trans women minimize the biological realities of being female. I've participated in the trans discourse long enough to feel that this is a bit true. Now, I'm going to comment on again this first tweet again, although I'll read through the second and third ones. And the only time I have ever heard a trans woman or trans person, I should say,
Yes.
do something like this, it is a joke. It is not to be taken seriously. It is to poke fun at this condition or not condition. That's a yikes. I was trying to say like human condition.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Tavi, I want to put a pin in your point about telling a trans kid to commit suicide. If true, I want to put a pin in that point for a second.
I've heard that as
We can get
well,
back
but
to it.
I've heard that as well, but I've never. I would like to see proof on that. To be
True.
honest,
I haven't seen proof on it. I've never heard of it. It could just be hearsay. Who knows? Who cares?
uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to read the second and third points out if you want.
Sure.
I hear many trans feminine folk talk about accusation of them not being like women because they don't perform certain biological roles, i.e., childbearing, breastfeeding, periods, and turning around, twisting, and attacking female biology. That happens. I'm sure you've seen it. I do believe that it's quite a bit that it is quite misogynistic. Beyond that, I hear that most things TERFs say are pretty rubbish, and it is not lost on me that their analysis almost always ignores trans men unless the conversation is detransitioning. Um, yeah,
Yeah. I can. Hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. Like, this is one of those, I think, unhelpful and not safe. This is what I was talking about when I mentioned just like streams of consciousness, especially from like big creators. Like, this is a conversation that she should be texting back and forth with like a close confidant or something, right?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like this is something that you bounce between on like a Discord call or like a Skype call with like a friend or like over text with like another creator or something, or I don't know, like another trans person who you've been interested in, right? This is not something that you put on your Twitter. I feel like there are lots of things that should be said in public and in private. I wouldn't, if this was leaked, right? If this was leaked in like a Discord where she was like talking with someone about like her like just random ideas that come to her head that she's been like milling around, I feel like this would be a different conversation if this was just like tweeted, if this
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
just tweeted.
absolutely. I think if Ink and Teeth is still in the chat, I know they've seen this firsthand. Where I'll post, or actually no, it would be Dearest Dandy who would see this firsthand because she has Twitter. Uh, where I'll post something in our Discord, talk about it for a bit, and then put a different version of that up on Twitter because I usually try not to go into Twitter arguments half cocked. I've done it before, but
That's a good way to get banned.
I actually have a full second Twitter account for when I get banned for saying turf on my main
It's
account.
coming. You feel it coming.
Oh no,
When
it's happened twice already.
you've been banned for saying turf,
Yep. Well, one time I tweeted out "shut the fuck up, turf" to like a British
and that got you
parliamentary
banned.
person for about
Parliament
like a
member,
week. Yeah.
something like that. Wow, that's incredible. That's why mass reporting is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Aren't there just like a group, like a community of turfs? It's like I feel like there's a Facebook group that goes around and searches the word turf to find people saying slightly mean things to them, so they can
Oh
have
god.
them banned. Is that true? I feel like this is true.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I have made just posts that had turf in it, and totally haven't been banned. And actually, I was going to comment on this. She's using the word gender critical feminist, not gender non-conforming feminist, as I initially thought. Uh, she is very purposely using that phrasing, uh, be- because, in my opinion, she is trying to normalize the idea of
That turfs aren't like
gender
as bad.
critical. Yes, and like gender critical does not mean turf.
I f- I don't know. I'm not necessarily sold on that. Mostly because I can see, especially after Jamie got banned from Twitter for her very fun talk about Peter Coffin. People typing like the letter, like the emoji P and then ETER and then a coffin when they're speaking of Peter Coffin now. It's just there's no other way to like say his name, so
I
it's
call him
not.
Joffrey Coffin.
You call him what?
Joffrey Coffin.
Joffrey Coffin. You know what? I'll take it.
Uh,
Why is that?
Because I like. So Peter Coffin is one of those people who I just can't stand, and is like, I think is the wrongest man on the internet at the moment, or on the left, I should say.
Isn't this man like 35? He acts like he's 17.
Yes, absolutely. He actually had a very bad Twitter thread recently, if I can find it.
The only thing I know about Peter Coffin is I've sometimes watched a couple of his videos way back in like 2018 or something, and I used to be subscribed to him because I liked every like other video that he put out. But then he did something really dumb. I forget what, and I unsubscribed from him. And then I saw his like debate with Destiny, where he got absolutely blown out of the water and was just like a piece of garbage and just complained about how he was tired. I'm like, this dude's he's just like a child. You're just a child. And I can definitely see how he's probably said some dumb stuff, right? That being said, I'm not sure that publicly, big air quotes, thinking that he's a pedophile rapist on your Twitter feed with thousands of followers probably is not something that should go unaddressed.
I have been trying to find out if any of those allegations are true, and I've been doing that very privately, like, which, by the way, I haven't been able to find anything on those allegations, so I think they might just be bullshit.
Yeah, I think they probably are, which is my opinion even more egregious. That because like the crux of her whole argument was just maybe her and Peter maybe might have met when she was 17, maybe.
Oh, this one. I was thinking of Peter Coffin's wife Ashley.
Yeah,
who is like much younger than him, but it would be the same. By the way, this is about to get some weird family history up in here.
heck yeah.
It would be the same age gap. I almost said gender gap. Age gap between my father and my mother when they met, which my mom was like 17, my dad was like 26.
Yeah.
So mill that over. Well,
my mom's actually older than my dad. It's pretty wild.
Oh shit! Congrats.
Thank you. It's a blessing. Here's the thing, whereas like pedophile, etc., were brought up by Peter and his fans, not by Jamie. I'm gonna wholeheartedly disagree with you here. I don't care who brought it up. She insinuated that when she was hardcore looking at she was under when she always pressed she was underage. Here's his age, that's her age. This is around the time where they maybe met, and here's her birthday, and here's the time where he may have been over there. She was hardcore implying that Peter flew to Scotland or whatever and completely destroyed this like 15-year-old girl or whatever, and committed like statutory rape. She was hardcore implying that he's a pedophile.
Granted, the age gap is weird, but I don't think he's a pedophile.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that it's not weird, or you flying to another country as like almost a middle-aged guy to pick up like your sweet barely legal wife.
Now, you would be surprised at the men who go to Thailand.
Oh no! Listen, I'm a guy. I am the most Coomer guy that you'll probably ever know. All right, I got Coom on my brain 24/7. I've driven. No, never actually. No, never mind. I'm not bringing it up.
If you're going to say I have driven for sex, I'm going to say I've taken the bus for one.
The bus.
Not like a city bus, but like cross country bus.
A Greyhound?
It was only like 12 hours, but yeah.
12 hours. Would you go there? You played
No,
a rousing game of chess and then you
I,
went
s-
back, or
I stayed the night.
the night? That's it.
Yeah, buses are expensive in Wisconsin.
12 hours,
Yeah,
like both ways in total, or 12 hours
Mm.
each.
12 hours both ways.
You're insane.
Or
You
not
know
both
what?
ways. All together. I'm sorry.
Altogether, okay. I was about to say, oh my gosh, well, this is like me. This is like me driving to like 2 states away. That's what, you know what, you get the Coom Award, guys. Everybody, every, guys, girls, and also non-binaries, and everybody in between those three sections. Everyone,
Also, like
the
6 hours
Mecca wins the
from
Coom Award.
you realize like 3 hours away from me is Chicago, right?
I don't
That's like
know.
that's the nearest city I live to. Actually, no, that's not true.
I was about to
Milwaukee.
say, geez, where do you live? Where the nearest city is 3 hours away.
Milwaukee is technically 45 minutes, but like Chicago is.
Oh,
Wait,
don't dox yourself now. Watch out.
no.
We're gonna get the
It's
triangulation.
like I've absolutely driven or I've absolutely ridden 6 hours to go see a Packer game. You know what, actually, you want to know the longest amount of time I was in a car for the most trivial thing?
Mm-hmm.
12 hours for pie.
For pie, come on. There was another person on the end, right? Where you were also there for pie. It wasn't solely
No,
pie.
I was actually like I was like 13, so it would have been just pie.
That's hilarious. You know what? I just pie. That's it.
Yeah.
At least when I drove 2 hours, and at least there I stayed. We went on a walk. I stayed the night. We went plant shopping. It was a whole thing. We went to go to a river. It was a whole thing where I stayed like almost like almost 2 whole days. But
It was the best goddamn pie. It's like
was
the
it worth
best
it?
pie. Oh, absolutely. It's like so. I don't know if it's still up or not because I was 13 last I went, but it's Betty's Pie near like Duluth, and so you go up and it's like the best veggie burger I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, second best. There's a place in Milwaukee that is like a hole in the wall fast food joint that just has the best veggie burgers. And then like a strawberry rhubarb pie in the middle of fucking winter, and it's just, it's beautiful.
I remember when I started college, a couple months in, me and my friend were like, you know what, we deserve a treat. We didn't fail any classes yet.
Yeah,
I would let's get a pie. Let's make a pie, and we made it was like a whole thing. It was like a little date with me and my friend, and we made a strawberry pie, and it was really nice. It was really fun. Um, to the bottom of the catacombs. The catacombs. One thing I want to jump to, right, is it's number 10 on my list, and you said I don't want people to use, like, the R slur, besides autistic people, and this made I wanted to ask. So what are your views on people using certain words slash slurs when they're of a certain demographic, right?
so
I don't know how I definitely stand on it. It was just like, oh, if you're black, you can say the N word. Like, mixed people exist. How black can you get? Can logic say the N word? I don't know. Is it you're presented black? What if you're not super presenting black, but you're more than 50%? I don't know. Where does it
so
stop there? So go
uh,
ahead.
like I know for myself, I call myself cripple,
Yes.
which is technically a slur against disabled people, and it is something I hold very dear because it was something I was bullied with throughout school, and I took it to uh, as like uh, not a shield, but like to boost confidence, and
Reclaiming
like
something does bring
yeah,
strength.
um, and so my thing is I don't want to, like, if you're uncomfortable with the word, you're uncomfortable with the word, and I'm not going to call you, or I'm not going to call somebody who's disabled crippled without knowing if they're comfortable with it. I know Ink and Teeth in the chat is comfortable with cripple, but I also know Tavi is usually Tavi, forgive me if I'm wrong, usually presenting with person first language where you're uh she is a disabled she is a woman with a disability and not a disabled woman. Uh, I am a crippled man. Uh,
Yes.
it is not my place to say whether or not uh, whether it is not my place to say whether or not like if logic can say the n word because I'm not black. Uh, it's not my place if my little brothers can say the n word because I'm not mixed. Uh, but it is my place to say whether or not you can use the R slur because I am. Oh, Tavi, never mind. I'm absolutely wrong. Tavi does not use person first language. Uh, she uses crippled as well. Who the fuck did I know uses person first?
Oh no, you forgot.
Damn,
They're gonna
can't
watch this and be so sad.
canceled.
They know
Uh,
exactly who they are too. You know who you are, don't you?
um, uh, but it is my place to say for like the R slur because I am granted I am self diagnosed because it is quite literally dangerous for me to get diagnosed as autistic in Wisconsin at the moment. Uh, but and I also don't use the R slur uh because of that self diagnosis. But it is I where was I going with this?
You find we were talking about what type of groups can use
Vosh.
some slurs. Yeah, so obviously it's harking back to Vosh's use of the N word. I don't know if you know, but he is himself autistic. I would just like to
Is he? I didn't know
he
that.
is.
Okay.
He is. Yes, he is. He's
I
autistic. He has
absolutely
anxiety and depression. He takes
okay. I
medicine for all of
absolutely
them.
retract everything I've said then. Yeah, absolutely he can use it. I didn't know that.
Um, that is interesting. I don't know how I feel on it personally. My deepest personal views. My people in my family use the N word. Not necessarily my nuclear family. Uh, my brother does, um, and my cousins as well. I don't. Um, you'll never see me on stream, and I'll like blurt out the N word if something like crazy happens. It's just not in my vocabulary.
Mhm.
The R word actually is a little bit. It's creeping. It's just creeping in the back of my mind every once in a while. Have you ever just like you're talking and it's like those text what is it those text games that you played when you were like a little kid and you type the words as fast as you can and you see the next word coming up. It's like that while I'm
Oh yeah,
talking and then I'll just like want to insult someone and I'll like the bank I see the R word just floating in there and I'm like I gotta make sure not to grab that one.
yeah,
um
and like it's more and this segues into my broader idea about things like idiot and stupid is like I'm very pragmatic on it. I know a lot of my following is way more hardcore about it than I am, but like I would rather you not use it. But if you're trying to stop using it and it's even being used once in a while, I'm not going to be as harsh as somebody who is using it constantly and using it unabashedly.
yeah, definitely. And I would agree, Tabby. I'm not here to like completely defend Vosh, right? I was talking to Mecca before we were setting this up. He's a big boy, all right? He's a
Yeah.
streamer. He can defend himself. He has his own justifications for what he does. I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with everything. I like Vosh. I actually I watch him on a pretty regular basis, but I don't agree with everything, right? I
Mhm.
hardline disagreed. I still watch Destiny every now and again. His more YouTube than his stream because most of his stream is just him sitting there playing Oxygen Not Included, completely silent, or like his other people in his Discord call talking about something completely unrelated, like if a hot dog is a sandwich, and then he blurts out every once in a while or leaves to go like fuck his girlfriend or something. So
I mm,
go
Des-
ahead.
Destiny bringing up that he fucks his girlfriend every debate. It makes me think he doesn't fuck his girlfriend.
His girlfriend wants to watch him get fucked. Or wait,
Oh,
no, his
really?
girlfriend wants him to watch her get fucked. That's what it was.
No. Hmm.
Very
Uh,
interesting.
so like every time he says that, I'm like, are you though? Are you like, uh, there's oh God, I wish I remembered the exact wording. What's the phrase? Those who know they're gangster know. don't need to say it or something like that.
Yeah. I want to respond to Tavi. You're doing the same thing. You're seeing other guys do not everything. So he's implying. I was talking about. Because I don't agree with. I would like to call that up. I hope I'm not doing this. I've been thinking a lot about this. I've been thinking a whole lot about this for the last couple of weeks. I've been milling over a lot of my ideas. I would like to say this because while I'm talking about Vosh and talking about everything, it's because like I said, I don't agree with everything Vosh does, and I don't want to defend him per se. I would like to defend some of the things that are in there because some things I agree with, some things I don't. Like the same with Contra. Like I said, she shouldn't have platformed Buck Angel. She shouldn't have said a lot of things that she did about non-binary people. That being said, I don't think that she's like super NB phobic or deserves even a lot of the super vitriolic hate thrown through there. But
I think I said this in my live stream is
yeah.
we need to be able to criticize our thought leaders, because if we don't, we're just doing the same as fascists.
Yes, I wrote that down.
Do you want to segue into that,
or in just a second?
Okay.
But no, definitely. I think we should be able to criticize them, and I think we can take parts of what they like, even if we don't agree with the whole thing. I may sound more like that. I promise this is completely good faith, and I agree with some things Vosh said and some things he doesn't. If you can get this idea from me, because right. So back to like saying the N-word or saying some certain slurs in some certain instances, right? Like where would you draw the line where let's say, because I don't know where we would draw the line when it comes to like any sort of person. When I was younger, I had a pretty bad ADHD. I had to take medicine for it, and because I was super hyperactive, like really. I'm not sure if you would give me any permission to, I don't know, get the proverbial R word pass.
I don't know, to be honest, because I don't give myself that pass. But like,
yes,
like crippled on the other hand, I let any physically disabled person use that as in response to to me being like disabled. Hell, I fucking call myself the crippled bastard sometimes.
Yeah. What do you think about the word bastard? Isn't that an insult to people with born with parents who weren't married?
I think it's been so far disremoved from that. This is also my kind of thinking on idiot.
Yes.
Disremoved from its original context, that it's hard to call it a slur in the same way as like cripple or the N-word or
true, because those with those words, I think the real problem with them isn't the history per se, is the fact that the history coupled with how they're seen today, right?
Yeah.
Because the R word, right? It's not that's not like an actual diagnosis. I'm quite sure anymore. I'm pretty sure that's not like an actual diagnosis.
In most countries, it isn't. Although I think there are a few that still have.
Yeah, still. But let's say even I don't know. Let's say just for instance, the R word isn't used right now. Let's say the R word isn't used anywhere, right? To refer to anything. I don't think not saying the R word would be I don't think saying the R word would be as bad, especially as it is today. Like we could even imagine like the N word in the future is just completely disconnected from black people, because I feel like the terms like stupid, idiot, buffoon, imbecile, or cretin, right? A lot of the times were used for these sorts of people, but they're so disconnected from them. I feel like it's hard to really call them a slur. Also, call them a slur. Also, yes, I did take ADHD medicine. I took a lot actually. It was a hard time. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's also like so far removed and so ingrained that I want, as a disabled advocate, I want to easier to attack words like the R slur, like crippled, where I want to be able to start pulling those out, and then later start trying to get the harder to dislodge words out of there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and Tavi, I I have a tiny little story for you. I was looking up Cuphead, right? Because I love Cuphead. I love Cuphead so much. I played the game like 3, 4, 5 times over on like the hardest difficulty with like only the tiny bullets and stuff like that, just to get like to get all the achievements for being like a super cool Cuphead badass, the Dark Souls of cartoon Looney Tunes games, right? So I love Cuphead, and I was looking up the release date for its new DLC content because I would love to play it on stream, definitely. And someone was actually talking about how, well, it was pushed back. It was supposed to come out last year, like November last year. It's been moved to TBA. It's coming, but you know, we don't know when. And someone was like, "Oh man, it feels like just last year it was supposed to come out. That's crazy how it got pushed back." And someone replied, and he said, yeah, this is kind of expected, considering that the original game was supposed to come out in 2014. It had a 3-year retardation. You know. Oh, BRB. Oh, my bad. And I was like, oh, and I was like, what? Because I've never heard the word used in that context. And I would think maybe in the future, if that's the only context we see the word used, it's not really a slur anymore, right? I was thinking about this a lot when I've been watching a lot of like weapons videos, like medieval combat and stuff, because I just think it's really interesting. And you got using the translation for marks, yeah, probably. And he was talking about like, when does an arming sword turn into a long sword? When does like a straight sword turn into a long sword, or like a bastard sword turn into a long sword, right? Because you can pick up a sword and it can be a certain length, and then you can be like, ah, yes, this is a bastard sword. And then you pick up a long sword and it could be 3 inches longer, and you're like, oh, this is a long sword. We're not sure exactly where that line is. But we know when we feel one from the other. I heard it describe part of the braking mechanism for 18-wheelers. Yeah, yeah. There are just sometimes when it's used, and that's fine. Oh, you come back?
Yep. Sorry. I have the bladder of an 80-year-old.
Yeah, no problem. Just make sure to wash your hands, okay? Don't give me the coronavirus, all right? Through my Discord.
Ah, damn. That's what I was expecting to do.
What, to give me the coronavirus through the Discord?
Yeah.
Please, yeah. No, don't do it. So yeah, that's an interesting talk. I think we about exhausted that. What do you think? If you had anything more to say,
that's been pretty much my thoughts about like the use of slurs and everything since like a while. So
yeah, definitely. Like I said, the N-word isn't in my vocabulary necessarily. I you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. This is when I reveal my true thoughts. No. No, there are some times when I'll use the N-word, especially when I'm in the company of or just completely in the company of other Black people, my comrades, my true comrades. No one talks about the AA question. Yes, the African American question. We're ready to take over the world one day. I'll use it in certain contexts, especially when I'm in the like complete company of Black people, especially in the context when I'm in complete company of Black people from my family. It's not, I use it like irreverently and like, in a way that you know how you could use a word kind of, like offensively, but it's the comedy of it kind of thing. Yeah, that's how I'll use it. Right.
Yeah. What's the Boondocks character that's I want to say his name starts with Uncle Ruckus. Yeah, thank you, Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, definitely. So to be completely honest, you know, that's how I'll use it. And honestly, to be completely honest, I don't think it's that too hard for me to. I don't think I'd be super upset if like a person who's not Black used it that way in a context that they know no one's going actually harbors these views. None of the people that I'm around are actually racist and hate Black people, right? So I highly doubt it would feed into actual racism.
Mhm.
It's just a way to play on it, and I think that can be I think that can be powerful in a certain context, right? I feel like a lot of the times when we use these words, the audience is more important than what's actually said. What do you think? What do you believe on that?
Absolutely. I think a lot of my audience is in this chat right now, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I've been using Cripple. But uh, and I do use it when talking to. Do you know Camazotz?
I've heard you talk about this person a lot, and you speak high praise of Kamazats,
Oh
but I do
God,
not know them
yes.
personally.
I'll get you in touch with him. But
Please do.
when I'm on Kamazotz's stream, I also use Cripple.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when I'm referring to something I have a little uh Twitch group, I guess, of disabled streamers and content creators and other people, and I call them, and it's called Cripple Punk after the name of a long
Yeah,
dead shit,
I think I saw
or
that like
not long
cripple
dead.
punk thing. I think that's cool. I can definitely respect like reclaiming words and certain contexts. I'd like to. There's something I'd like to put a pin in that for, but I'd like to move on a little bit as well.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Yeah.
Easy question, simple question. All right, woke scolds, go.
Uh, so I don't like. Uh, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts on this right now,
Yes.
but I think there's a difference between woke scolds as it's used and woke scolds how I would probably use it,
Mhm.
because there are
I feel like we may
absolutely.
agree on what a woke scold really is. I feel like a lot of people obviously co-opt the word,
Yeah,
like a like social justice warrior, whatever, right?
like I would call woke scolds, if I were to name it, liberal advocates, absolutely doing nothing to attack the problems at hand, but wanting to seem like they're doing something.
Mm-hmm. Just the true, pure left wing version of what virtue signaling is, right?
Not really. Actually, virtue signaling is a good word for this. Now that I'm thinking about it, uh, and actually, I wouldn't even call it left wing. I would still call it center. And Tavi is right. It was originally popularized by Ben
Yes,
Shapiro.
yes, it was.
Uh,
Yeah. No, go ahead. I don't. I want you to.
yeah. I think woke scold as a concept is useful, but I don't think it's very useful when we're talking about somebody on, or when we're talking about give me a good a woke scold off the top of your head.
Woke scold off the top of my head. What I would call a woke scold probably would be like someone like Lexington 3, or
Yes.
some of their tweets. It's they, right? Jamie
Uh,
Jamie and Lexington 3 were in a relationship, still in a relationship, isn't that right?
no idea. I don't follow
No
either of them.
idea. Okay.
I think
I feel like I
Lexbot
heard
was
that
single.
somewhere, but Lexington 3 I would think is a woke scold. When I'm like milling around on Twitter, and I have my like 30 seconds to get in and get out, before like it comes in contact with my skin and gives me like a third-degree burn, chemical burn too, not even like a regular one. um i I will like see like a Lexington 3 tweet with them like going crazy over some like really obscure thing, and saying like this is the like second coming of this is the Fourth Reich being erected on bread tube, and truly the end of days is coming because everybody hates non-binary people, and we are under attack. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, some people have some yikes takes, but in like actually calling these people like I believe they actually called Contra like an envy phobe, compared her to like Blair White, and said this is all terrible. It sounds, if true, it's an overreaction. I feel like it's a I would call them a woke scold.
Uh, I was uh sorry, one second. I just accidentally pulled something I do is I kind of like stroke my I literally stroke my chin because it has hair on it, and I just pulled out a bunch of hair by
What
accident.
I do that exact same thing, and it's terrible. And I think that contributes to me having like patchy beard sometimes. But
yeah.
I've definitely see, maybe not that exactly. And Lex's Twitter is privated right now, so I couldn't pull
Oh,
up any
that way.
receipts. So I couldn't pull up any receipts, right? One thing that I do remember is rather than feeling your lip and feeling dysphoric. Heck yeah, I have no clue what dysphoria feels like. I would imagine it's terrible, but
Yeah.
I definitely have solidarity in that. I don't even know what I would even be able to compare it to. Maybe we can get to that in a little bit. But
Oh,
I remember this one oh sorry, just a
I was
second.
gonna say something quickly on
No,
that.
go
Is
ahead.
like, as cis people, I don't think we'll ever figure out what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like, actually, this is minor rant, but like, I really don't like physically abled people talking about, or as I like to call them, biotypicals. But Abel's talking about spoon theory and using spoon theory language
What is
because
that?
spoon theory. Imagine the energy level on your phone,
Mm-hmm.
and so like for you, maybe getting up, getting dressed, and doing everything may take like 30% of your battery.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it might take upwards to like 90 or 10% or 90 or 80% of my battery.
Mm-hmm.
And but how an able to it uses it is like I'm very tired. Where I use it, I'm like I am my body physically does not let me do some things.
Yeah, you're like just limited in what you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it comes down to ignorance in that case, because I feel like a lot of people can empathize with that, especially if they have someone in the family who's like that. My dad, both my parents were in the military for coming close on 30 years each,
Oh
right?
shit.
No, yes, very. They were both involved in Desert Storm. Very cool. Ooh, very interesting fact. I was in New York. I was on the opposite side of the Brooklyn Bridge when the towers fell.
No shit.
In daycare, yeah.
Fuck man. Sorry.
Nah, it's all right. Yeah, my parents were freaking out because instead of being able to visit me, they're all sent to on watch duty, make sure no one like comes in or out of the city, because no one knew what was going on. They were like watching the bridge, so my mom was on the opposite side of the bridge, just wondering if I was okay.
Yeah. And just to briefly, Tavi is absolutely right. Where I usually say I don't like to criticize the people who are following somebody like Vosh or Destiny or Contra, but a lot of non-binary people started getting harassment after the entire shit show went down, and I saw a lot of non-binary friends personally uh, getting shit because from Contra stance.
No, definitely. I can think that when you have when your platform gets big enough, you can only do so much to contain what they do. This is not saying that ContraPoints did enough. I think she didn't do anything to
Oh
truly
yeah,
contain what she did or what her fans are going to do online, right? But
and
that being
it's not.
said, I think when you get big enough, it's almost impossible, near impossible. I would say 90, like mathematically impossible to control these people, because once they're out of your chat, if they like you, they like you, no matter what you think, right?
I actually, I try taking pains at this, where I routinely say on my show, don't fucking stand me, don't defend me in comments. If I'll defend myself if I want to, uh, and I am of the opinion that at a certain point you are responsible for your audience. And so
Mm-hmm.
if your audience goes and harasses somebody, like let's say my audience went and harassed like you or somebody else, I would reach out very publicly and ask if you're all right, and say that I'm sorry for my audience doing this, and tell my audience to please shut the fuck up. um Something that Contra absolutely did not do,
Oh,
although the
100% she
scale
did
is.
not do. Like I don't want to like sound like I'm defending Contra here. It's just like a segue. Usually when I talk about these things, most of the time it's a segue. I hope it came off like this, but most of the time it's a segue to talk about the broader issue, and this is like kind of like an example, like kind of like what you wanted to do with Vosh, right? and
No, yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
hopefully it's come off that way. That I'm not trying to like pick apart and secretly bad faith try to defend Vosh and Contra through their actions as people, because I'm a super secret parasocial stan of both
Yeah,
of them.
like ableism and leftism is, which was the original thing about the video, the stream. Although I think that was very buried under the entire other shit with brain fog. I said it
Hmm.
right this time. But ableism and leftism, we've seen it very clearly after the last 2 weeks. And Vosh is not the disease; he is only a symptom. Or what I saw in Vosh was
Hmm.
not the disease; it was only a symptom. And we need to address these diseases if we want to do anything.
Yes, Tavi. A lot of her language did contribute to the harassment. I 100% agree with that. I don't disagree with you, there on that point at all. Yeah, and definitely, I agree with you too, Mecca. Um, One thing that I wanted to go to was a pretty broad question, but I wrote this at the top and I put a star by it because I really want to get to it. What is ableism?
I actually, I actually saved something for this. Ooh, I did a bare minimum of.
Let's go.
Let's go. Ableism, a system that places values on people's bodies and minds based on socially acceptable constructed ideas of normalcy, intelligence, excellence, and productivity. These constructed ideas are rooted in anti blackness, eugenics, colonialism, and capitalism, although I would say industrialization, but that's a different point. This form of system. This form of systemic oppression leads to people and society determining who is valuable and worthy based on a person's appearance and or ability to satisfactorily reproduce, excel, and behave. I'll send you this definition that I found
Hmm.
because I was going to do another round of ableism and leftism, and I was going to have this on the screen the entire time.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Very, very. This is a very well-rounded definition. I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and ableism is very much rooted in eugenics, colonialism, anti-blackness, and industrialization. Although,
Capitalism.
not actually, capitalism, yes, but I would kind of downplay the capitalism part. Uh, it was so we see medieval disabled peasants living uh, in my opinion, a more fulfilling life before industrialization than we do afterwards, because industrialization requires the mass amount of bodies the thrown into these factories and workhouses and mines. And if you are disabled and you can't work in those, the industrial mode of production doesn't really care about you. And even though I know leftists say that the USSR wasn't communist, I I still take it at the assumption that it is, because I think we have a better uh, argument saying that okay, so sure it is communist, but also the things that you're talking about in capitalism or in communism happen double under communism, but not,
I got it. That's really interesting. So you'd say a lot of the ableism that we probably experience today probably calls back to putting worth on someone's life based on their ability to work. Is this right? Also, Tabby, I'm glad I have him on here then.
Absolutely. I would like uh we we saw it in bits and pieces before, but we've never seen it uh to the level of anti-industrial or after the industrial revolution. Sure, we see it in places like Sparta is probably the best example of this before industrialization, but we really don't see it afterwards
Mm-hmm.
until industrialization. And then we see this very Spartan ideal of every man, woman, and child being thrown into the grinder that was progress.
Yeah, like feeding the army and expanding the empire, right?
Yep.
If you're not feeling, eh, I'd say it's pretty close to fascism, isn't it? Like
Oh,
all things, all modes, all life being pointed towards the betterment of the state itself, right?
yeah. I think it's Noam Chomsky who calls I almost called to say who calls capitalism fascism capitalism in decline.
Yeah. Depending on who you're talking to, maybe an ascension. We're going up, boys. Finally come no. Finally coming up. No, no, I could definitely agree with this. What I would like I was bringing it up mostly because I see ableism is one of those things that I see when you can draw a decently clear line on racism. Taking in a couple factors, you can draw a decently clear line on racism, and we could all agree that a lot of the times it doesn't matter what your like real intent was. If you say something racist, you say something racist, point blank, right? Even if you said it by accident or said it by mistake, that racist thing is still racist. Doesn't make you racist, but said a racist thing. The end. You can say something that's sexist a lot of the times. Taking in a few factors, we can draw a pretty clear line. A lot of the times, and I would like to know what you think about this and anybody else in chat, I find it harder to draw that clear line when it comes to ableism. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. It's much harder to discuss, or it's much harder to discuss what was and wasn't ableist. Especially on the left when uh, we have people. I'm going to use this word, although I disagree with it.
Oh
When
no.
we have woke scolds who try to throw it at anybody and see if it sticks. I've
Mm-hmm.
actually talked about this on Twitter before, where I'm really fucking tired of able leftists trying to use us as a way to cancel somebody if
Oh,
they can't find anything else.
oh,
Because nine times out of
welcome,
10,
welcome
what?
to the welcome to the club, buddy. Black people have been here for a little bit. I can't tell you how many times someone has I feel like a disturbance in the force, and I look on Twitter and someone has sapped my a percentage of my blackness and forged it into a hammer to clobber somebody over the head that they disagree with.
Oh god, and where was I going with this? Yeah, and especially when we get these woke scolds, and because ableism is much harder to identify and talk about, especially with leftists who aren't as familiar with it, we start seeing things like the last week, or actually, I think it's 2 weeks now. The
Yeah,
last two
wasn't it
weeks where
that guy who you said who was like, oh, if you take like a blind person and a deaf person and you have the deaf person lead the blind person, you have a whole person
and
or
that's not
whatever.
even like that's not even the impotence of that. Uh, so that is in response to Coffee Spoonie getting denied an Uber again, and getting the driver fired,
Mm-hmm.
and the entirety of left Twitter fucking uh, decided that disabled rights weren't as important as sorry, my mouth was really dry. Oh, disabled rights weren't as important as this one worker, even though it wasn't really the disabled person nor the worker at fault. It was Uber. Uber's business model absolutely discriminates against disabled people because they need to get these bodies in and out of their car as fast as they can. And so a disabled person is a real time sink on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, everybody in my chat right now who has taken an Uber, who has taken multiple Ubers, I should say, has been denied at least once because they are disabled.
Yeah, so like the push for like ever greater margins and the push for greater profits and better results probably is most likely is what drives some people to be excluded in the pursuit of pushing for these greater numbers. Is that right?
Oh yeah, you can be absolutely anti or pro disabled and pro worker at the same time.
Yeah. Where do you think how do you think those two play together? Those two ideas, being pro
Uh,
disabled and pro worker.
well, so first off, a lot of disabled people are made disabled well, made
through work.
medically disabled by their work.
Hmm.
Many people like break their backs during work. One of my best friends, his ankle is completely fucked because of his work, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
is
Speaking
getting
of
to.
that, if I could cut in for just a second,
Yeah, cool.
I have some family members who are also. I have a long line of, well, this isn't too surprising. I have a long line. I come from a long lineage of proud military servicemen and women. So I have seen firsthand lots of the people in my family who get out of the military after 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and just go, yeah, I'm done now. Also, I'm disabled because I can't walk, I can't bend over, I can't pick up anything, I can't stand for very long because I've been wearing military boots my entire life, and destroyed my body in certain ways. So yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely that is I think helping push for probably workers' rights as well and better working conditions can also be pro disabled. Isn't that right?
oh, absolutely. And if we allow things like even Uber to operate at a profit while also like taking time to actually pick up people, we would see uh, these rates of denying disabled people go down. Probably not down to zero because there are still people who are fundamentally ableist at their core,
Mm-hmm.
but the profit motive there wouldn't be the same. Like,
Definitely.
we rarely hear about taxi services denying disabled people because it's literally against the ADA.
Yeah. One. Yeah. Definitely. That's pretty messed up. Um. One thing I want to throw your way, right? This is gonna be a hardball question. All right. Welcome. This is hard. This is now hardball, and my name also is Chris, but I'm not Chris Matthews. All right. Welcome to Hardball with Chris. All right. So, and I don't want anybody to take hardballs. Please no, don't get me banned. Okay. I don't want anybody to take offense to this because I mean I want the world for all people, especially disabled people, because I feel like a lot of them, their situation is uh, for hoisted upon them, or foisted, yeah, one of those words, right? Um, I was an idea that I was how should I phrase this? Something that came up when I was thinking about all of this was, like I said, there's a difference in our minds about ableism and where that line is, right? When it we can always point out xenophobia, we can always point out racism to a certain degree. I feel like of correctness, and ableism's harder with that. It's harder with that for ableism, and I feel like it's hard. And how do I want to phrase this? I want to phrase it the best way possible, right? Listen,
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I need a PR spokesman to like tap me on the shoulder or something with like some postcards. um, like things like being, your words are very hard. I love words actually. English is my best subject. Um,
Ooh.
being African American, right? I highly I think like as at a scientific standpoint, doesn't all things society considered, probably doesn't reduce your quality of life, right?
Yeah.
I would say that being like an Asian American, society take into account, doesn't reduce your quality of life, right? But being born with like no legs, or like problems with your joints or something like that, or any other sort of medical problems, is like an actual problem.
So,
And that's, oh, just a little bit.
okay.
That's one thing that I had a contention with. There was this video that you were watching not too long ago. I think it was like one of the last streams that you did.
Yeah,
I
can't
popped
stand.
in. Yeah, I think so. But he was like, there's
Yeah.
society sees a problem with you and not society, and the only problem you have with like a disabled person who needs a wheelchair to get to the store would be the wheelchair and the ramp. and I'm not sure where we could actually take that. These are just my thoughts. I'm gonna throw them out, and you've probably thought a lot more about that. This is actually one of the first times I've actually like dived into ableism, if you believe me, if I sound like it. So what's the fundamental difference between a disabled person who needs a wheelchair? And obviously, I'm not saying that we need to get rid of ramps or anything. I see a place with ramps, I'm like, this is kind of fucked up. Without ramps, I'm like, this is kind of fucked up. What's the fundamental difference between a wall being in my way, someone who could walk, and a ramp and stairs being in the way of someone with a wheelchair?
So, you're talking about medical versus uh, societal disabled theory, which
Like
is
more like oppression, right? Or whatever you
uh,
would call it.
so I I don't like to discredit medical theory, even
Mm-hmm.
though that's very contentious, because there is something fundamentally disabled with us, but it is also how. Uh, oh, geez, I try to mute myself when I burp on Discord, so I am
They keep
absolutely
getting
sorry about
bigger. They keep getting
that.
bigger. The first one was just like a little one. I was like, oh, okay. That one came from you puffed up your chest for that one.
So, uh, even though this is a point of contention within the disabled community, I don't like to throw out the baby with the bathwater with medical disabled disability theory, even though it is from a place of eugenics. Uh, so uh, there is something bit there is something disabled about us, but it is more about how society is geared towards an abled person, that we are disabled by society.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also tack on to this, it is how society is geared towards the poor disabled person, where it disables the poor abled person, where it disables the poor disabled person, if I got that correct. Because I call ableism the most capitalist ism, prejudice, because the moment that you start making money as a disabled person, ableism starts to melt away.
Yeah.
It is really it, not fully, not totally, but it is not as hard as as a rich disabled person to get to to get to the uh, to get to a place that has a ramp than it is for a poor disabled person, if their only store within 10 miles is one without a ramp.
Yeah. Uh, Unable to contribute to the generation. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I could. Yeah. Um. Thanks for that. Actually, thanks for all of this. It's really
You're welcome.
nice. But yeah, definitely. I want to see if I can get my thoughts straight on this one. So a lot of the issues, yeah, like I was saying, like a lot of the issues that come to disabled people are from society, right?
Yes.
But I think it's different than like I said, it was different than other isms, because a lot of those issues also come internally. Is that right?
Uh,
Would you agree with that? It might the not exactly. This isn't like an exact one to one, but how I would say is a lot of the issues in like the black, like big air quotes, community come from history, redlining, slavery, uh, drug law, prison law, just society in general, the idea of whiteness. All of these things play in, right? You would agree with that? Is that correct?
yes.
Yes. But I think also in the community itself, obviously through these things, I don't think any of these things are necessarily intrinsic to any person. But living in these communities also instills bad behaviors and bad ideas about the world. One of the things are like being super against mental health, right? For black men, mental health is really bad.
Oh yeah.
And it's compounded by how you look so down upon if you go to it like these things that we see in society, like going to a therapist, or like the negative attitudes toward you are like multiplied tenfold in that sort of environment. So mental health just kind of like is just brushed under the rug, and obviously all those things come back out, and that's not necessarily outside of the community, it's inside. So I'd say something like not being able to walk necessarily is something that's inside instead of like outside. Society
Yeah.
to without when it's not like you were forced into this through like a work related accident. Society didn't do this to you.
So yeah, like that's why I don't throw away medical theory, because I was born with type 4 muscular dystrophy.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not very like severe. It is technically progressive, but I won't die from it. And that is fundamentally something wrong with my body, but how society treats that disability is what makes me disabled. The difference between me and you with a wall between uh you and the grocery store, and me with, like, let's just say, an icy staircase,
Mm-hmm.
because I can actually go upstairs. The difference between you and me is that you can walk to another grocery store. I might not be able to.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the argument with what I proposed was kind of like the argument with people who are not against store discrimination laws, right? Where it's like, oh, this cake didn't want to make you a cake because you're in a gay relationship. Just go to another one, right? There's not
Yeah.
always another one, and even if there is, I'm not sure that they should be allowed to just deny you based on your intrinsic characteristics.
Yeah, like actually, here's a good example. Like the nearest grocery store to me right now is like a mile away, but the nearest convenience store is like 2 blocks down that way. I can walk to the convenience store, but I can't walk to the grocery store. And because of how cars are designed, although I could get one that is like tailored made for disabled people, but they're expensive. Uh, like
Oh, also,
somebody,
thank you, Taffy, for being here. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, you don't hate me after this. I hope you have a great day, and I'll
all right,
make sure to stop by another stream sometime.
see you, everybody. See you, Tabby. By the way, everybody, to promote Chris, we're 3 away from 50. Come on,
Oh, really?
we have
Thank you.
more. Yep, we have more than 3 people in here, and I'm pretty sure more than 3 people unfollowed.
You say you're okay. I'm glad I didn't upset because I
Yeah,
really wanted to have this talk, but I was hoping that I'd come off not as like a piece of garbage, right? I feel
yeah.
like I feel like a lot of my views are decent at best.
It's actually really funny. A lot of my community is like, if I'm pissed, I'm going to tell you I'm pissed,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I am. How I am too, and it's really funny that this has become a, a reciprocal thing.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem. Do you feel like a lot of the trans community are passive aggressive
no, well, okay. So this
in
is
real life?
when
Because the internet is another thing.
well, I don't really have that many
Yeah,
trans friends IRL, but a lot of the people I know. Oh yeah, I've definitely seen Tavi pissed.
she got pissed. I couldn't
Oh yeah.
imagine.
Uh, so uh, a lot of the trans people I do know are over the internet, because like, I'm not really clued into the LGBT scene anymore
Mm-hmm.
in where I am, but I know a lot of my friends who are trans are not very passive aggressive at all, and I don't really see where uh this like idea that the trans community is very passive aggressive comes from. But that's also like, how many people are on my Discord? uh, we about 23. That's like a sample size of about 20ish disabled trans women.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said disabled people.
Disabled humans, disabled creature. But no, I think what I would hazard to guess that this came from would be that, for one, most everybody is pretty reasonably passive aggressive in society. Um, I would say probably in real life, I think most people, including, and I would think a higher margin of trans women are probably passive aggressive, mostly because it's just more dangerous to be trans, isn't it? I'm quite sure it's just
Yeah,
more dangerous to be trans in general. So I think
and
that's always in the back of your head, like, it's probably best to keep it low here, right? And if
and
any
being an angry
transgressions come your way, you're probably most likely to take it more passive.
and being an angry trans woman can also lead to a lot of dangerous stereotypes.
Oh, yeah, we all know it's ma'am. We all know. I never even saw the original video, and that made the circles. That was a copy pasta. Just, you know, the angry trans woman
Oh
is
yeah,
the massive meme.
yeah, and yeah, and I think it's a lot harder. Like this is my privilege as a cis man, where I can be openly cis white man. I can be openly angry and not have much pushback. But like,
Unless you're
uh,
short.
what?
Unless you're short. Short comrades
Well,
rise up.
I'm actually 5'1".
Let's go.
Let's go. Uh, yeah, and like Lin Wu, I was more angry before it came out. Absolutely. Well, Lin, I have a question. Uh,
That's so
was that
tall.
because you were not before you came out? Was that was your anger rooted in misplaced dysphoria, or was it because you're just angry?
Can yeah,
That's a weird.
that can come out. I think that's hmm. Being I would, like, armchair psychology say that if you were more angry before you came out, it's probably just internal struggle that manifested itself into anger. It's like when people are more tired, they're angry. When they're hungry, they're angry. Or
Mhm.
black women, the stereotype of black women is always angry, right? And a lot of black women are pretty angry and or have pretty bad attitudes. There's something I wanted to go over a while ago. There was this video of this black woman. She just turned on her camera and she's like, "I'm gonna say it straight. Y'all black girls have terrible attitudes. You're walking around stink face, making everybody uncomfortable, just having a bad day all the time, and that a lot of that's probably internal from, like, your place in society, right?"
Yeah, and I talk about this a lot on my show. Is like black disabled women are absolutely fucked. They are they get routinely looked over by pretty much everybody. It's actually one of the reasons why I try to seek them out and shout them out as much as I can, and try to learn from them, because they're routinely just ignored for very and ignored dangerously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
It's not.
one thing, Tabby, there's a really good thing, right? Every time someone says the word offended, replace the word offended with insulted, and then see if the sentence reads the same. Because 9 times out of 10 it won't, especially with discourse on the internet. Um, yeah, definitely. But the thing is, with this sort of, like, I guess we could call it, like, propaganda. It doesn't have to be right. It just has to feel right.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
agree. It just has to feel right. Oh, the trans people, they especially trans women, they're just like big 10 feet tall dudes who look like Shaq with, like, a wig on, and have like a tiny person with, like, a dog, and they're just pretending to, like, walk in the women's restrooms. That's the view in a lot of places, right? And if you can just crap on these people who are already crapped on by society in the first place, obviously some are gonna lash out, and obviously, like, aha, look, he's mad, haha. I think that's just easy, right? It's just low hanging fruit, and
Yeah,
it's easy to just pick on people who are already, like, kicking who's already down.
and that's actually so this was a big thing back when Cripple Punk was first made by Ty, though, which I accidentally said it was dead. It's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I said that. Uh, is a lot of a lot of disabled people uh, have to be this very nice, very forgiving person if they want to be listened to. And Ty was like, "Fuck it, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I want to just be angry." And so it was like both a way to lash out and a way to express ourselves as disabled people who are fucking pissed. Even though I play into that disabled stereotype. Uh, um, oh god, where was I going with this? I had a point. Uh,
Um,
I I think it's very necessary that we need to like marginalized groups need to be angry, because if we're not angry, the shit doesn't really get done.
mm-hmm. And I guess it could be like we could channel this anger instead of just like lashing out and being irrational, right? Channel
Mhm.
the anger into something good, not just be angry for the sake of being angry and then
Oh
just
yeah,
like not making anything happen, right?
my entire Twitch show is me. It was started because I was angry that nobody was talking about disabled issues, and even the disabled people I know weren't really talking about disabled issues all that often. I was just like, fuck it. Eh, if nobody's going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. And then people like Lil McSteo started doing it. Not Tavi started talking about disability. Actually, no, I think Tavi was before me. Uh, but I was introduced to Tavi after I started, so
Mm-hmm.
that's a little yeah.
Definitely really interesting. Um, well, oh, I want to read something in chat. Oh, also, come to think of it, women get the same stereotypes. It's angry all the time. I'm not sure about angry all the time, but super passive aggressive. But I think most women are passive aggressive, and I hope that
Mm,
doesn't come off as. I think most women
I
in a lot of situations are passive aggressive, but I think they're conditioned to be passive aggressive. I think guys, when raised as guys, it's okay to be angry. If a dude's angry, you know that it's a dude. He's angry about something, right? If a woman's angry, it's viewed differently. I'm not sure how exactly to explain it, but I think, uh, I think most people could probably agree with this. I've run this by a couple people at work, and I've asked just like straight up, "Hey, what do you think? Do you think women are far more passive aggressive than men?" And most people come by saying, "Oh yeah, 100%."
I think older women, like 40s and up women, were conditioned like that, but I think uh today it's way different where it's not at. Granted, I probably am not the best arbiter on what women are saying, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of women today are passive aggressive.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like lots of women today are pretty passive, um, aggressive in the ways of showing being upset with something. Even younger women, definitely. I know there. I think it's more there are bigger enclaves of like you go bitch, go off queen. Sort of just a woman being really angry is the goal, or like really look fondly upon, right? Getting passionate about something, really, which is I think it's good. Women get angry. Go ahead, get angry, get mad, get
We should all be
furious.
getting angry.
Yeah,
Uh,
everybody, but not too much. That's bad for your health.
we shouldn't be getting mad at our comrades. We should be getting mad at the system.
Yeah, definitely. But I think in general, I would say probably most women are probably passive aggressive in their day to day experiences. I think probably especially interacting with men probably are. I'd hazard to guess that if you have any thoughts on that.
Uh, Again, I don't think I have a better take aside from, well, in my life, I don't really see it like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also probably not the best arbiter
Yeah,
of
it happens.
this conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Are you ready? Are you excited?
I thought we were in the meat potatoes.
Oh,
Holy shit.
absolutely not.
Okay, let's
Let
go.
me tell you. There's more meat. There's more potatoes. We got starch. There's protein. It's wild out here. Okay,
Oh yeah, Groundsley. That's who I was forgetting. Groundhog.
groundhog. Okay, I've seen. Is it him? They?
I think it's a they. Let me double check.
I've heard a couple people respond with masculine pronouns, so I'm not sure.
Any all pronouns. Although I usually default to they when people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Potato time.
Potato time. Okay, so I want to go over the Are we having Arby's now? Yes, we have the meat. Okay, I want to go over the Vosh transcript, or his tirade, over the Contra drama. Right. That's what I wanted to look at because you went over it. I want to go over it as well.
Let me see if I still actually have it pulled up on my computer.
I have one. I don't think it's on my computer, but it's a little tweet that I found. I just typed his name in and then scrolled down far enough that I could find it.
God, I need to organize my computer.
Yeah, no problem. Take care. Thank you for being around. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, here we go.
Did you save it?
Yep.
I can't play it. I can't play it because I'll get banned. Because they hated him because he spoke the truth. No, I'm joking. Just like Jesus, poor guy. So initial, what are your just overarching broad thoughts on this little diatribe that he had?
I mean, regardless if or not, if he's mentally disabled or not, really throwing mentally ill basement dwellers is kind of a mentally ill basement dwellers fucking queer people is a bit yikes of a statement.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing I talked about this?
You've said I'm in the basement right now.
Sucking off. Actually, to be honest, I'm in the attic. Sucking off the back of society like a leech is a very ableist propaganda phrase. That's the word. Very ableist propaganda phrase. Actually, Nazi Germany used rhetoric like that in their anti-mentally disabled people.
And the term degenerate, isn't that right?
Yes. Well,
like degenerate art.
Degenerate is a much older phrase, but yes, it was used like that by the Nazis.
Yes.
A lot of people, nothing to offer apart from bitter scorn. I would actually agree with that part. Yeah. Do you want to retort or as I try to remember what's going on?
When it comes to this, right? I was there on ground zero in watching the VOD stream while this was happening, right? So honestly, I feel like I'm a firsthand witness of what went on. I can't find the stream again. I tried to go by the shirt he wore, but he wears the same overstretched dingy shirt with a garbage hoodie over it all the time. So I can't really tell. But I'd like to break it up more into 3 parts, and it's pretty easily broken up into 3 parts already, just about maybe like 3.5. And I think the main problem with what was said here isn't it in total. I don't care about him insulting other people. When you go out to insult people, your goal is to insult people, and if they're insulted, then that goal met, right? I don't think that's the biggest problem here. The biggest problem here probably is his use of a couple terms. If you would agree with that more.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said this in private, and I'll say it in public now. In private with you. I spent way too much time on this, and I spent way too much time on the phrase mentally ill basement dwellers, fucking queer people.
Yes.
That is fucking such a phrase that is like, yikes, brother, K-Kona. And then also, even though I don't think, do you remember if I talked about sucking off the back of society like a leech?
Let me see, because I wrote down a couple of things regarding it.
Because I don't remember if I did, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, shit, I don't remember. I think my main hang up is that phrase, mentally ill, basement dweller, fucking queer people.
You seem to call back to how a lot of your problem with it was bringing back a lot of Nazi sort of right-wing imagery.
Yeah, Okay, so I did talk. I didn't touch on the sucking off the back of society like
Um,
bleach.
I just wrote down a couple broad things. You're like, how can we defend people using this language? You're happy about him getting banned. I wrote about how. Well, this was more like when I was like first knowing about you. I saw
Mhm.
this with a lot of people, and I'll say obviously this isn't like a massive group, but I think if the group is vocal enough to be talked about, there's lots of people. I don't know if you or anybody else would agree with this. I think there's lots of people out there who like call themselves on the left, any variation of a left wing person, who talk about internal issues way worse than they talk about external issues, or internal issues having the same sort of hit when I personally don't feel that they do. Not saying that this is like I said before, when probably when we were first in communication, like I said, I don't really agree with the way he phrased it. I think the way he phrased it more is the problem than him saying it at all, which is
Yeah,
my
and
main problem.
I absolutely agree that there are some people who will just focus on internal issues and for the detriment of their message. And I probably would put myself into that category,
Not saying
but
that
also,
not focusing on internal issues is a problem. It definitely should.
oh yeah, no, it's not, and we should be talking about this. Although I do tend to talk about it a bit too much. But also it is the census scale where, yeah, fascists are fascists will, if nothing is done, fascists will eventually kill me. But right now is this fucker, like, for hyperbolic, or actually no, a good example. Uh, One, like right now, I have a guy saying that we should pair all physically and mentally disabled people together to create a full person.
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's the sense of time where fascists, if not stopped, will eventually kill me. But right now, I am dealing with other shit on the left at the moment. It's why I've always never. It's why, at least now, I'm on the left, and I'll probably forever be on the left. But I'm still hesitant to. Uh, I'm still hesitant to identify with the larger community of leftists.
Yeah, definitely. I just see it as kind of like, obviously the issue that's in your home is seems like a bigger issue than one that's outside, right?
Mhm.
I think more people would say that like a leaky faucet in their house, if they're gonna be completely honest, like a leaky faucet in their house is more important than us like dropping like 100,000 bombs on Afghanistan, right?
Oh yeah. Throughout history, you deal with rebellions first before you deal with invasions.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, but it's the sort of I feel like they don't really. It's like the end for a lot of people is closer than they think. Definitely, like a couple, like a Trump reelection is gonna like actually lead to the death of a lot of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like the propping up of other like terrible right wing figures is gonna lead to the death of some people. Just looking at the right wing crime rate, right? And I feel like a lot of I just think about like a lot of the times when these people focus super hard and have this massive magnifying glass that we can see like the Andromeda galaxy in on the left, and don't necessarily turn it on the right, or at least not as much as I feel like would be as useful. I just don't see this person as necessarily being helpful to anything I would like, any movement I would like to cultivate.
So I'm going to talk about this from the
Oh,
aspect
also,
of
my
my,
bad. I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Just to jump in,
yeah.
I didn't mean. I forgot. I actually kind of forgot that I had this pulled up on my screen. I'm not talking about this Vosh, the Vosh thing, specifically right now. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't even have it in my mind when I was talking.
So I'm gonna talk about this from the aspect of my own thing
Mm-hmm.
because I've been milling over because I technically have a YouTube channel, but I put one out video out for it, and then I haven't done anything else with it since.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've always had the idea of doing ableism and leftism, ableism in the center, ableism in the LGBT space, and then ableism on the right. and the ableism on the right was going to be a 5 hour video, but it's just going to say with me at the beginning, uh, they want to kill us all. There is no, their ableism is eugenics, and then
Yeah.
10 hours of screaming.
I mean, honestly, true. I'm not sure about the best rhetorical sense, but it captures the internal view.
uh, so like it's more. This is a very weird way to phrase it, but
Hit me.
uh, it is more that I can get content out about how either ableism and left or the structural ableism, that which I most talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will getting out of like talking about right wingers and their own ableism. Because you can look at any of them. You can look at Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Paul Joseph Watson, any of them, and you can find ableism very readily and very freely. But it doesn't really take apart from the fact that they are fascists, and this is the core tenet uh, of their
Ideology.
yeah. Thank you. Uh, and I don't know if you saw this before, but I actually did. Commented on Twitter to Mixie when she did her video on ecofascism, and ecofascism is actually one of the groups that I do eventually want to do a deep dive and talk about their views of disabled people, because it's more interesting to look at their views than it is for like Nazis, because
Boring.
Nazis
They're
are
pretty
kind of,
boring.
yeah, it's pretty boring in the grand scheme of thing, where it's very cut and dry, and it's like they're just going to put us into
You
concentration
say
camps.
something, you prove them wrong, they'll say it again, and they'll get mad. It's the same thing over again. But to go on to what Mr. Vosh video, Mr. Irish Laddie said, right? Um, the idea that let first part, right, would be fucking dejected, worthless, mentally ill basement dwellers, basement dweller fucking queer people who have absolutely nothing to offer the world except for their bitter scorn. I would agree that lots of the people who say that Contra is like as bad as like Trump or like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder and should delete her channel probably fits this with like nothing to offer the world but their bitter scorn and people I have no respect for, right?
This might
If
just be my
say again.
this might just be my point of view, and
Yes.
but I don't like the idea that nobody has nothing to offer to the world.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
definitely as like yeah. Yeah, if we're gonna stop having fun. No, but in all actuality, yes, I would agree. Now, obviously, um and my true thoughts are I don't wish death on people. I don't want people to die. I don't want people to like end their lives. I don't want any of that, right? But if I'm just like riffing and being mad, right? And I'm like I hope they fall off I don't know, like a two-story one of those two-story red London buses in Minecraft,
I mean,
and don't
I
come back and
actually
don't get back up, right?
I I put that, or I said something like that in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm glad Vosh has been banned off of Twitch, and I'm still kind of by that, where it's like
Yeah, I have that.
I don't want to be anywhere near. I mean, aside from you, I don't want to be
Hi.
anywhere near his ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. For me that's like not a hard hitting thing. Oh, welcome back. Nice to see you. We're talking about the Vosh transcript, his mask off moment. Um, I think the biggest issue for me personally, if I were to critique what he said here, which I do, I don't like it. I would think that his use for someone who, and I see a lot of people compare this to like the Jordan Peterson people who are like, oh, what? Well, and definitely some people who go out there to try and white knight for Milady Vosh, who on like Twitter threads, who are like, well, you haven't watched a full stream, so you do not know any of the context. How could you ever criticize? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, simping for that sweet Vosh coochie, that furry Vosh coochie. I'm fine. With not white knighting for him. That's cool. Like his use of probably the use of the word like mentally ill basement dweller queer people. That's that phrase right there. For me personally, who's in his community a lot, that didn't ring any bells. It wasn't until people picked up on it and started like the people genuinely expressing their dislike for this is when I was like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely from someone who's doesn't know this person, right? If you just see this transcript pop up in like a thread about like ableism on the left or whatever, you're like, oh, what the heck? What is this? This is terrible. Which I can definitely agree. Like I said, the audience matters, but even now, right? I would say this is a public. I'm doing a public thing. This is a public platform. If I sent out a tweet and I have 2 followers, that's still a public tweet. I wouldn't be too mad if someone like picked it up and said something about it. Like I'm saying, like this is still public. Even if he said something within his community, it's still technically public, right? Even though he's speaking probably mostly to like at least 90% of his fans. Oh, thanks for the host.
Sorry, I just realized I wasn't ever my auto hosting was doing Alex and not you.
Oh no!
I've been on the stream for what's it, like 3 hours now?
About 3 hours. It's okay. Listen, it's okay. You gotta start somewhere. It's fine. I didn't even think you were gonna host me. I appreciate it though.
Usually I try to if I'm on somebody else's stream, but I forgot to do it this time, and I'm sorry about that.
No, don't even sweat it. So yeah, like the his defense of the use of the term mentally ill is he explained further in that stream, right? That which is something that I find really interesting is that in the trans, I don't know how you would feel, but I'm still on Enter the Gungeon. Heck,
if you mod me, or actually no, I don't think you.
I've been called out. I can just grab it real quick.
Okay.
I can change them all. I'm streaming through Restream, so I can just change them all in one go.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I didn't notice. I noticed that you were still in Enter the Gungeon.
Yikes.
And I was like, oh, we should probably. We've been doing at this for like 3 hours, and we should probably change.
Listen,
it.
I had Gungeon in the background for the last like 2 hours. So honestly, they can't ban me. It's true. I was still playing Gungeon.
Pog, brother.
Please don't ban me, Mod Chan. Yeah. But yeah, like his what would you say about the idea that things like anxiety and depression and other mental disorders, their prevalence in things like the LGBTQ community? What do you think about that?
So I think a lot of it is like depression and anxiety specifically
spurred on by society, right?
Yeah, it's very much like we are constantly attacked by society, constantly, and that takes a fucking toll on somebody. One of my best friends is constantly depressed and depressed that she's not out, and is constantly in anxiety about coming out, and like we have had long talks together about like, hey, you're probably going to need to go see a therapist soon here. Like, I mean, a lot of this is a lot of like mentally of these mental illnesses are spurred on through things like society fucking with us through homophobic and transphobic laws, and then things like correctional rape is very prevalent in the asexual, gay, and lesbian communities. Actually, yeah, it is gay as well. And conversion therapy provides PTSD for days for people. Uh, I don't know exactly ADHD
Mm-hmm.
because that's actually that's a part where I don't have a lot of experience or a lot of knowledge in, and I really should like research at some point soon here.
I'm being excluded from the mental illness crew. How sad.
Damn.
Fine. The only
F in
group that
chat.
accepted. F in chat. Man, come on. Let me in. Let me in.
Let
Let
me
me in. Come on,
I mean,
open the door.
if you want into the CryptoPunk group, I can send you an invite.
No, I don't think it's fair. It's like I'll take that as in the I'll plead the fifth in that one and take the route that some NB people do and say they're not trans. Like I don't I don't think about it on anywhere near of a basis that makes me feel like this changes my life in any other real way. Sometimes I'm still a little too hyper and at work. You know, sometimes I find it hard to hold still when I'm doing something. I can find myself. I'm a like rampant fidgeter, right? I still fidget
Oh yeah,
a whole lot. I still
I don't know if
I
you've been
pace.
hearing. I don't
What
know if
happened?
you've been hearing it this stream, but I keep doing this with my fingers on my desk.
I don't
It's
hear it, which is great.
I am vibrating my fingers back and forth, tapping on my desk.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, we all need something, right? It helps us think. Um,
Mhm.
I used to have like a fidget cube, and my favorite thing was the switch. I love the switch on that thing. That nice mechanical click. Oh, that was so good. But
Yes,
yeah,
but it's impossible to use in like a classroom or something.
I used it in the classroom. Mine was really quiet. I just had it in my pocket.
Oh,
It had like a nice like rubber band thing, and it was like silenced. It was a really nice one. Actually, I lost it one day, which made me really
mine was
pissed.
mine was obnoxiously loud.
Hey, but at like home, like in your room or
Oh
like you're
yeah.
making something, does it like click 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 click, right? It's like the click of the pen, like pen clicking. Oh, that's great. I love pen clicking. But yeah, it's like that. I wouldn't call myself. I don't feel like it's helpful.
Yeah. Uh,
Especially I have anxiety, depression runs in the family. I probably have depression. I've had a couple bad weeks, you know. But you know, I'm not sure if I'm not gonna armchair diagnose myself here.
yeah. It's just it's something that mentally disabled people are very much excluded from disabled activism,
Hmm.
and it's something I'm really trying hard to
Rectify. Oh, is he here? Oh, something. His internet may have went down. F. Rip. Oh, hello. I cannot hear you. Yeah, no problem. I don't know. Oh, can you hear anything, chat? I can't hear anything. The thing, oh, yeah, I don't know. Nope, sad. Maybe we can fix it. I don't think it's anything on my end. Am I still going? Still have the webcam. Hmm. Oh, is it? Oh, get wrecked. All right, he's gonna use the bathroom and get some water. All right, I'll talk about this a little bit then, while I'm here, while I have you in my clutches, chat. Um, in my humblest of opinion, right? In none of this here, uh, is attacking me, right? None of the groups. If you were to like broaden this out and throw it into the hands of someone who actually hates these sorts of people, none of them are I would identify with, right? So I find it so it's harder for me to come at this and be like, hey, I don't think this is bad here. I don't think this is bad there. I think it's hard to do that. You can't really tell someone what they can and can't be insulted by. But I think I don't know. It's more of a question of saying what's justifiable to criticize someone for, in total. And I think this is definitely something you can criticize Vosh for, whether he believes it or not. Like definitely the use of how he wanted to phrase it. I think this is a poorly phrased mini rant about him being really angry that like one of the in his opinion, and partly my opinion too, are like one of the biggest left-wing creators being like thrown overboard out of the internet to not make the same content that they do, which has gotten so much media buzz, has gotten so much attention, has helped move a lot of people further to the left in any sort of way that you would like to imagine. Because I feel like it did. I feel like these sorts of videos 100% do good work for the world. Like pushing for them to be discontinued or stopped is pretty bad in my opinion, right? If I was in this position, right, and then someone who I felt does good work for my group is being accosted the same way Contra did, for the same things, I feel like I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, I can definitely see them being criticized, right? But I feel like a lot of it is, and it's really hard. Oh, can I hear you? What? Oh, nope, still can't. You think it's something with me? Did I do anything? Let me update. I'm gonna update real quick. I'm going to update real quick, and then hopefully if we're on the same update, then we should be chilling. Let's wait a second. I'm gonna throw it on the preview screen just in case. I don't need any like dick pics to pop up on accident if any like random chat opens up. Okay. Hello? Oh, I can't hear you. Wait a second. Okay. Hey, say something.
Test 1 2 1 2.
Test 1 2 1 2. Okay. I could hear that. What the fuck is that? What is that? What's up with my Discord? Why is it doing it again?
No, to be honest, it was my problem at first. I couldn't hear you.
Wait 1 second. He's not coming through again. What happened? It was all working fine. It was fine and dandy. Everything was fine. Very quiet. Yeah. Here we go. I got it. It automatically mutes Discord now. Nice. And the quality welcome to the internet. My boy, welcome to the internet.
So how much meat and potatoes do you have further?
Not too much. This is about it. Like this thing, I think we basically touched on everything. Like I talked to you about how the person who I like I had some frustration with like saying someone was like at what am I saying? Someone was mad at Pig Puncher, you know, and brought up how he's only been like a leftist or whatever for like so much time, and then they were that was their biggest thing about them. Can I bump up Mecha? Yeah, wait.
Something that like I mean I don't really go into Bad Bunny's streams, but
let me know if this is good.
Like we shouldn't be like throwing out our comrades if they've been leftists for a very little time and are willing and showing that they're willing to change for the better. Granted, people like Baked Alaska who try to grift the left are obviously allowed. What's the word here?
Given leeway.
I was going to say allowed to be thrown out.
Oh, allowed to be. Oh, isn't Baked Alaska literally like a Nazi?
Oh yeah, no, he tried to grift the left for a bit.
Did he really?
Everybody laughed at him, and
there's not even any money here. What the heck?
Yeah, fucking all of Left Twitch has $20 that we send to each other.
Go talk to we get one and send it to the other one. We don't even keep any wealth. Like like go talk to the last remaining Coke. Coke, the last conservative bender.
There's still 2 Cokes.
Are there?
Yeah, it's just there's a much less successful Coke. So like one of the main Koch brothers died, and then pretty much the last other non-successful one took his place.
Well, did he inherit the money, or is he just like still chilling but poor?
He's still chilling.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, like I don't know if we got too into like the issue with like mentally ill, how he personally talked about how like these people like in were they alive to begin with? We don't talk about that, okay? We can't say that on Twitch. I don't want to get banned, okay? Listen, it's sad that people die, and I don't want people to die. Some people do bad things and they're dead. So I'll leave it there, okay? We're going to tiptoe on Twitch. If I'm on YouTube, it's all coming out. I'll reveal my true thoughts on I want it to be a copy pasta. It's like Hassan's what a fucking liar, dude. I'm glad that also became a liar, became a copy pasta.
I have that as a copy pasta.
Let's go. Weasley little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Literally lying. Still lying to his audience.
Can somebody
at least enlighten Destiny that he's literally lying to his audience? What a fucking piece of shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. I actually have a lot of copy pastas.
I love that he uses dude as a punctuation instead of a period. It's so good. Yeah, but what's your when it comes to like using the term mentally ill in this way? Now I know when let's say, right, let's harken back to someone saying like this ugly lazy black dude, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say something like that. Maybe not necessarily those words, but you say bad adjective. That's an adjective, right? Am I right? I'm still listen. I haven't been in school in a little bit. Like bad adjective, descriptor, noun, right? Bad adjective, noun, right? Okay, now, obviously, when most people use this, they imply that the noun is similar to these, right? Thank you so much, Groundhog. I really appreciate that.
They were the person I was talking about before.
Oh, yes. What a great person. I'm glad that you're here. So we have bad adjective, noun. And in this way, same way how we could have like basement dweller, do nothing, leech, whatever, queer people, right? Mm-hmm. What are your ideas on this? Is there ever an instance where this is okay, or is this never okay?
See, I don't have this fully formed in my brain yet.
Yes.
Because I do like to make fun of fascists in a way that would be technically offensive to actually me personally.
Yeah, actually. Like,
you short little bastard. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm really bad at being offensive, but
yeah, that one really stung.
Actually, no, that's a tangent. So I don't really have this fully formed in my head, but like, the fact that he's using, and the fact that he's doing it as, from what I know, he's cishet. Is he?
Who? Vosh?
Vosh, yeah.
No, he's pan.
Is he? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
That totally. All right, never mind.
It is interesting, right? When paired up with these things, right? He's not like cripplingly autistic, but he's pretty autistic where it's a point in his life, right? Autism is a point in his life that he had to like overcome and struggle with, and he's still struggling with today. He'll say himself in certain ways, certain instances, right?
No, it's just the idea that overcoming a disability.
Well, my bad. If overcoming is not, yeah.
I understand.
Hmm. Well, if you're well, yeah, like if I don't know if it's like an ops. Would is disability? Do you think a mental disability is ever can ever be considered like an obstacle? Because I think that it could. I think if you have
uh,
like pretty bad depression, like
yes and no.
yes,
Overcoming it is, uh, absolutely, it's an obstacle, but overcoming it is not the same as, I want to say dealing with it, but there's a
more
better
like
amount
working
of
with it,
software.
right?
Yeah, working with it. Like, I did not overcome my muscular dystrophy.
Mhm.
I do
Yeah,
not overcome my
you
chronic
can't
migraine.
really overcome something like that. I guess
I
is
deal with it.
but I guess would it I guess in the way that we use it, I think it's and what's it persevering through, I guess is would
Yes.
be
Perse-
a better way through, like something that he had to persevere with, persevere through. And the fact that he is also not success, he is he is pan. Would these things change the way you look at this? What would you think?
yes,
Because when I'm looking
absolutely.
at this in a certain context, because I don't know if you have any like gay friends, but from what my experience is, a lot of gay dudes love the F word. They love it. Like
Oh, yeah.
in like my they love it, right? Even if it's used offensively, they don't care, which is interesting to
I
me.
mean, so
But so
yes and
yeah,
no.
go ahead.
So I don't watch Vosh. I
Hmm.
don't interact with him. I don't do anything with him. This is
Beautiful.
actually one of like two things I've watched of Vosh
Yeah.
before I did the entire thing. So I didn't know that he was autistic, and I didn't know that he was pan when I did the
Hmm.
thing.
That's
I
why I
did,
didn't want to use them as like a gotcha or anything, because
yeah.
I'd like to bring it up just to call to your attention, because mostly because I just thought it'd be interesting what you're hopefully it didn't sound like I was trying to like move you into
No,
a
no, no.
gotcha there.
That's absolutely fine. It does change my view on this slightly, but it also does make me kind of hesitant because he's still using it as a cudgel. He is still using internalized, probably internalized ableism. I shouldn't, uh, or he's still using ableism. I shouldn't armchair so psychoanalyze. He is still using ableism as uh, is still using ableism as a cudgel against somebody
As an insult.
who is yeah, as an insult, yeah. And so it really doesn't, without like any pushback or sarcasm or irony to it. uh I mean, you could make an argument that it's dramatic irony, but I
More
again,
what's that performative cruelty, whatever. I don't care too much. Uh,
yeah, so it was, apparently he
he's
has
neurodiverse. Yes, he does have autism, and he's also pan.
neuro neurodiverse.
Yes, is that the term you prefer more
It's
than like mentally
social.
disabled and or mentally ill?
uh It depends person on person. I
Mm-hmm.
use mentally ill slash mentally disabled because that's what I was raised with. But neurodiverse is, from what I've heard, the more socially acceptable way.
Okay, interesting.
Uh,
All right, I'll try and keep
yeah,
that in mind.
I didn't know he was neurodiverse either. It was
Yeah, no problem. As someone who like never watches him, I don't. It's not like he brings this up like every stream where he'll be like, I don't know, playing Dark Souls, and he'll be like, "Hello guys, it is me, Vosh, the pansexual autistic streamer that you guys like to watch." Like I'm like obviously these are like more personal things that you pick up from watching someone.
I
Uh,
mean, I do trade on the fact that I'm disabled pretty heavily, but that's
yeah,
because I'm talking about disabled
yeah,
theory.
yeah. Your channel is about being disabled, right? I feel
Yeah.
like when before I had a webcam or anything, lots of people didn't know I was black. Well, most people didn't know I was black. I don't know if I
Mhm.
sound black or anything, whatever that means. I always like
I,
that.
I'm not going to touch that with a 5 foot pole.
Go ahead. Do I sound black? Do I not sound black to you? Am I not black? Should my black card be revoked because I do not sound like Lil Wayne?
Mecasloth canceled?
Finally canceled. Neurodiverse would be more socially acceptable. And let's see, yeah, definitely more like a. I guess it would go the way of degenerate, wouldn't it?
I don't
If
know
it
how
was,
the Nazis would use neurodiverse as an insult because
it's
it
too
just makes
kind.
them sound like a nerd.
It's too kind. Oh, they'd probably use it as a dog whistle.
Oh yeah, absolutely they would.
He's just neurodiverse. These,
Oh
you know, maybe
God,
we should find a way to take care of these like these newer diverse people.
I
Probably something like
I
that.
fucking hate that you totally predicted that.
Hmm.
It's going to happen like that.
Oh, definitely.
Fuck.
They're very easy. They're very easy to understand. Um, come on,
Fuck.
come on. They can pull anything. They're good at rhetoric. They're really good at rhetoric.
They're
Um,
really good at propaganda, is what I would say.
yes, more like it's surface level. It's easy. It's a paper tiger more than anything else. If you would agree with that. But yeah,
Oh, but
I think the could I just touch on this? I think
yeah,
the way he used this, right, to say dejected, worthless, mentally ill, that obviously can come off super as he's saying mentally ill people are worthless, right? And queer people, mentally ill people together are basement dwelling worthless people. I can definitely see how he's saying that. He The way he explained it, he didn't obviously he didn't say that. Well, not obviously he didn't say that, but he didn't say that, right? As someone who's part of these groups, the way he talks about them, obviously he talks a lot about mental health. He brings his girlfriend on to talk about mental health all the time. These are things that you wouldn't know because you don't watch his stream, right? So, like I said, like we touched on earlier, just because you're part of these groups does not mean that you can't be whatever to them, poor to them. This is what makes me more lean on the side of he's just being dumb here, worded himself terribly, got clipped, and then is now having to deal with the blowback that is rightfully coming his way when a public figure makes such a dangerously worded comment, right? So like yeah, and to move on, since we agree with like the lash out at the world, bitter scorn, blah 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 in certain contexts. So they lash out at people more successful than them. They put all the time in the world into it because that's the only validation they get is out of performatively canceling people with more social capital. I think this is more of a statement that I can agree with, right?
yeah,
And that would like pair more back to like the Mad Libs who like take other people's identities and use them to bash other people, like the ones who are like all about like, oh, listen to people of color, and then AOC will come out and like endorse Bernie Sanders and they'll be like, why is this person of color and not listening to us?
absolutely, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't want to name names, but I do know a friend who is absolutely like that, and I don't find it healthy.
Yeah,
Like, I talk about Peter Coffin a lot because I talk about him when I'm taking a shit, and I take a shit a lot.
yeah,
Sorry, it's either when I'm going
it's
to
okay.
sleep or taking a shit.
It reminds me of my
If-
friend who he has like a disorder which makes him have a really big colon, so he takes really big long poops, and it's really
nice.
interesting. Yeah, it's really cool. He doesn't like them because it hurts sometimes, but you know,
Ooh,
we live and
I
let
can
live.
absolutely feel that. Like, yeah, I talk about Peter Coffin a lot, but there's like my Twitter feed is such a fucking mess that I talk about like 9 different things an hour. The only time actually yesterday is the only time I've been consistent on what I'm talking about, and it was Iowa.
Yeah, like come on, like this is what I'm saying. Twitter is, and someone with ADHD is their greatest dream. I can tweet something and then look at something else is completely tangential to what I just said, and I'll just be like, it's time to go on another adventure. And I had to get off of it. It's actively sapped happiness from me. Like I'll leave. There are very few apps that I'll like log out of, Tinder being one of them, but you know, we gotta use it. Tinder being one of them is just like one of those apps that when I turn off, I'm less happy than when I turn them on. YouTube, I'm always happier. My my web explorer, I'm a coomer. I'm always happier every time I log out. You know, with Twitter, absolutely not.
See, that's the exact same. That's my exact same like how I feel about a Tumblr, where I'll just log out for a few days and feel way happier. Aside from whatever bullshit is going on today. Uh,
We
oh
gotta
yeah,
use it
Grumpy.
last. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
That's
but you know
I
what? Oh, I didn't. What? That shouldn't be an awe because you know if they're happy, right?
yeah.
Doing whatever.
I was gonna
Do
say
yeah.
uh, I was going to point out that that phrase was very generalized between to both me and you, which I'm also a Coomer, so
Yeah, see, come on. Listen, there's only one country in the world, and that's America. I'm living in it. And there's only one person in the world, and that's cishet. Listen, I've never seen a gay person in my life. Who? Gay? What? I don't even wipe my ass because that's gay.
I've actually, speaking of that, I've gotten called a homophobic troll by a Pete fan, and my profile picture is the bi flag.
I love it. You love to see it, don't you? It's
It,
it's it's one of those wine moms. It has to be one of those wine moms, or someone who's in like someone who's in like their third year of college. Someone along those lines who are just like finally a homo to attach to, bring the homo to white office, and that's the only thing that's in their mind.
no,
They do not care.
this is the most white man I've seen in a while, and I've seen some white men.
He's the most whitest of men,
Yeah.
right? What do you think about about like well, actually I'll what let's blitz through the rest of this because I
Okay.
don't think there's too much more to talk about. Then we can touch on that and we can end. What do you think?
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Sounds
Absolutely.
great. When I see fucking 30 tweet threads about how horrible ContraPoints is, it's impossible for me to imagine this person as anything but a degenerate, sucking off the back of society like a leech. What do you think about that one?
Um, I again, my thing is more the end of that phrase, and
Mm-hmm.
him prefacing that statement with mentally ill fucking queer people.
Yes.
Uh, and those two make a very clear image of my mind
Mm-hmm.
of some old Nazi propaganda. Now, anybody making 30 fucking tweet threads probably should get off of Twitter.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm telling you,
and,
no one's happy when they're on Twitter. No, I've never seen a happy person on Twitter.
and like, I've seen one person do that about Contra, and they told them straight up, like,
You need to
you
stop.
need to get off Twitter, my
Yeah,
friend.
get off. Leave. This is not the most important thing in the world. Leave. Go do walk your dog. Make a burrito. Do something. Anything other than this, right? And I see these people or who do something else like this, and you'll never see anything. I can highly predict that most of these people, when Trump enacted like the LGBT, like the trans military ban, or like when his office or the cabinet was like pushing to make it so we can like deny whatever to trans people or gay people or this or that, you'll never see them post this mauled this hard about
I,
these structural changes. Well, let me say not all of them, but there's enough of them to be like, whoa, dude.
uh, the only time the person that I'm talking about hasn't molded over these structural changes or like ranted on Twitter about it was like
Mm-hmm.
the South Dakota Iowa or South Dakota. I almost said South Dakota Iowa bill.
Oh no.
South Dakota anti-trans bill, the anti-trans transitioning children bill that came out recently and like passed, and they molded for or not molded, ranted for a while.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was
definitely. Which I mean, then that's hitting you pretty hard. That's actual change. That's hurting people like you, or just people that you should care about in the world. That's something that I can understand you having like a whole fit, like having like your whole fit over, right? But like
Mhm.
Contra putting up some like a couple dodgy tweets here and there.
And then Buck
Um,
Angel.
yeah, and then like the Buck Angel thing, as bad as Buck Angel may be, I have no people have said a lot of things about Buck Angel. I have no clue what's true. I have no clue what's false. I just know that he's bad, right? And
Mhm.
having him on probably bad as well, right? But I don't know if going that hard is really admissible in this case. I don't know what you think.
I mean, this is a criticism I have of myself of the stream where I went way too hard on Vosh
Mm-hmm.
and this sort of thing when and like I mean I said at the beginning of the stream is like uh from the last look of the last 2 weeks, things have fucking happened. I mean, like we saw Twitter blow up as like just full full or left Twitter full mask off to being like at least ableist, if not like fully anti-disabled.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, like yeah,
Sorry,
I can definitely see that. Now that even then, like there are like some pretty big pockets that you can be like, hey, like this is pretty messed up, right? And I would agree with that. I don't know. I feel like I have a way to reset. And in the last part, it's impossible for me to think of anything else. I know this is fundamentally reactionary thinking, but I can't think of anything else. I don't know if you heard. He actually retracted this bit of the statement. Actually,
I didn't
he's
hear that.
yeah, he said he's like actually when he like reviewed it on stream, he was like actually looking back, this isn't reactionary thinking. This is truth. I was like, okay, well, do your thing.
Like,
I'm not sure if that changes anything, but
uh, I mean, like that last part was a way for him to cop out of the statement.
mhm.
And if he ever wanted to cop out of it, he could have just pointed to that. And the fact that he retracted that statement can be a bit yikes to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. It's just I guess it's more of a way for him to double down on his position that he hates people who criticize Contra, right?
Mhm.
That's and that's his prerogative. Do your thing, buddy. Live, laugh, and also love. Uh, but yeah, all this together. The way I would probably rephrase this is like, I'm going to reveal my true thoughts here, and then just be more mean instead of like being measured and calm. Like when I see all these people trying to cancel ContraPoints, all I can see is a bunch of trans people working against their own interests, like trying to destroy one of the creators that brings the most people over to accept you as an actual person. When I see 30 tweet threads about like how Contra is like the second coming of like Hitler himself. Later, Shark, later
Shark.
Splat. Later, goodbye, Shark. Later, Splat. Nice to see you. It's always nice being here, but for you to be here, bud. When I see 30 tweet threads about the trans people trying to destroy their eat their own, I can't think of anything else than this is someone with a severe problem trying to cope with a performatively canceling people with more social clout. That'd probably be something more closer to what I would say, which would hit on the same notes without being as controversial. I don't think. I highly doubt I'd be canceled as hard about that. That's more defendable than saying mentally ill, worthless, degenerate, fucking queer people, right? I feel
Mhm.
like that. I can, but the whole thing about this, right, which brought me to it, is I could see myself in it. Maybe, maybe it's just me, right? And I know you probably feel the same about some other specific instances where you see someone getting like shit on for being a piece of shit, and you're like, damn, that's me though. When,
Um,
not in the sense that I hate trans people or whatever, but in the sense that I can see myself getting mad and going on a rant like this and not meaning what I say. Now, obviously, like
uh,
I said, not everything that you say, not just because you don't mean exactly what you say doesn't mean you say it and it's bad. It's not bad, right?
like I don't know if you've seen me do this, but I've said I will regularly say something that I didn't really think through, and then say, "Yikes!" Let me rephrase that, and I rephrase that better
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
because I
We both done that here. Yeah, so
yeah.
yeah, I see myself in it. I could see me saying this about like a group that's like similar to me, like black people or whatever. Because I honestly, I feel the same when I see some like black person acting like a piece of shit. I go, stop, please stop. I'll do anything to make you stop. I've never experienced racism in my life, okay? And I'd like to keep it that way. But every time I see you, maybe you feel the same, or anybody in chat, when you see like, even if you can empathize with their situation, when you see like the It's Ma'am video, right? All you can think is, this is gonna hurt me, right? This is
Um,
gonna come back and hurt. Maybe you don't feel it, but this is from me, me speaking personally.
there's a
Disappears into the
specific
ether. Yeah. See you later. Thanks for being here. If you're leaving. Yeah. This is like, I'm like, man, that's gonna, whether people are like it or not. Like these sorts of groups, a lot of the times they're seen as like a monolith, right? And if one person acts a certain way, a lot of the times people can feel the same way about other people.
there's a specific ableist example though, which I can't think of right now, which sucks. But like, it became a meme for a while, and it was like, could you please just fucking not?
Mm-hmm.
And like what you're talking about more is, and even though I don't like using this, I'm going to continue using this throughout it because it's just easier. Uh, woke scolds. When woke scolds call out ableism, but the example isn't ableist, I will absolutely go into the Twitter thread and be like, "Hey, fucking stop that!
Yeah.
Let fucking stop that because it makes it harder for me to talk about ableism in the left because people like you get fucking will jump in and try to call out anything as ableism when I have very specific uh I have not actually not specific, but I have
More
criteria
concrete grounding, like
yes.
not a foundation of sand to build the this idea on, right? The same thing has
Mhm.
happened with like the word fascist has been tarnished, right? If you ever use the word fascist in like a regular context around like other normal people, you're gonna get laughed at now.
I
You
actually try to like not use grifter.
Yeah, like use grifter or fascist or these sorts of things. You're gonna get laughed. They're like, "What are you talking about?" I remember when someone called. I remember when someone called Obama a fascist. Haha, you loser. What are you talking about? It's the same thing, right? Every time someone sees it, it's gonna be like that.
Yeah, and like I've actually defended Peter Coffin and said that he was not a grifter before. I've regularly when Peter Coffin is brought up, I'm like he is not a grifter
Hmm.
because I want to keep grifter this very concrete thing instead of making it nebulous.
My favorite thing is when right wingers and radical centrists say, "Hmm, you call me a reactionary, huh? Well, you're reacting to my video." And then just like drop the mic and walk away. And they're like, holy crap. This is the level of thinking that we're on right now.
Five head, five head
five
centrist.
five head. Oh, I'm the reactionary, huh? Well, you're the one who's reacting to my video. Like, come on now, come on. And like, I feel like I've wasted my time. That's like seconds in my life I'll never get back listening to that. I spent like actual brain power trying to compute what's going on here, and it's all wasted. It's all gone to the ether.
Actually, no, I went directly into the five head centrist's brain.
True, that's true. He his head grew like Sheen from Jimmy Neutron. He had a brain blast, and that's all the neural capacity he had. And so maybe we shouldn't laugh at him. You know, he spent everything. He's out of mana.
I need to watch Jimmy Neutron again.
think, and then it's like I don't know, like a biscuit inside of a hula hoop, and he's like, yes, brain blast. It's a really ugly show. Like look,
Oh yeah,
oh,
no.
it's hideous. It's actually really ugly.
It's it was ugly for the time.
True. But looking back at Jimmy Neutron, like Tim, like Fairly Odd Parents stands up. Like all those other shows stand up today. Like I could watch this. Is cool, right? You could even watch like the old Disney stuff. If you try to watch Jimmy Neutron today, you look at it and you're like, holy crap, this is disgusting. This looks like a creepypasta video. They're
They
working
were
on.
working with no budget.
Listen, after this, it's like I don't care, like shoe on head, right? It's like shoe on head who's like 480, who the meme is she's 480p queen, like she's still rocking with like the Logitech like 120 box version from 1920, which records a slideshow and she has to put it through like a Photoshop to make a whole video out of it and then link up the audio, right? It's a disgustingly terrible camera for someone who has over a million subscribers. She makes money, right? But that's her brand now. Maybe that just happened with Jimmy Neutron. Is that it's ugly, it's disgusting, but hey, it's a brand. People love it.
It's the style.
It's the style. It's all about the aesthetic, right? And I feel like that's true. If they change the style, they like that. What was that crossover episode with who? Who was it? It was
It
Jimmy
was
Neutron, Timmy Turner, not Timmy
it was
Turner.
Fairly
Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy
where
Neutron.
they crossed over, and the Fairly Odd Parents part of the show looked great. It looked amazing. The Jimmy Neutrons part of the show was a fucking nightmare.
It was disgusting. I still have like Timmy's like gnawing like
Oh god,
overbite like stuck in
please
my
don't.
head of him like screaming, where it's just like it looked like one of the Canadians from South Park, but like animated in 3D. Like there's no facial expression. It's just like the top of the head moving. I'm like, what the heck am I looking at? This is disgusting. And even Jimmy looked kind of weird in Timmy's world. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much.
God, that show.
It was a good show. I liked it. Brain
No, I
blast.
liked it too, but looking back on it, there's not much redeeming that show in my opinion. Although I would need to watch it again.
I remember reading a review about Fairly Odd Parents, and a parent said, "This just teaches kids that magic is gonna save everything and fix all of their mistakes." I'm like, woman, magic is what gets Timmy in trouble. Isn't the
Yeah.
whole premise of the show? Oh, it's this little kid who can literally do almost whatever he wants until you listen to the rules. But besides that, if you don't listen, if you even if you have to follow the rules, right, you can still he basically do almost whatever he wants, right? But even with that power, he gets in trouble all the time, and he has to like think his way out,
Mhm.
or like rely on like the
Logic.
power of friendship or something, something stupid like that. Have his friend like pull him out, right? It's not he gets himself way more in trouble with magic than anything else, which I don't think
Oh yeah.
instills kids like, oh, your goldfish are gonna turn into fairies one day, and mommy and daddy are gonna love each other again, right? Like, I mean, come on, right?
Come on.
Come on. Okay, this was fun. What do you think?
Yeah. I had some fun.
This was a good time. Hopefully I am not the far right chud in sheep's clothing that some may think
I
that I
swear to
am.
God, if you heel turn, I am going to come to wherever on the East Coast you are, and I am going to fight you,
Do
and
you
I'm going to lose.
do you respect me? I go to the gym
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
Wait, is that an actual question on if I respect you, or?
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely respect you.
Okay.
There are a few people I don't respect, and all of them have personally wronged me in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I actually I should say I don't respect like Ben Shapiro, but that's the line I think.
I don't respect Ben Shapiro because Ben Shapiro is a smart person. There was one segment that I always wanted to do on stream, and I've been thinking about it for so long. It's called Dumb or Disingenuous, where I talk about certain figures on the right, and then we rate them. We're like, are they dumb or disingenuous? Dave Rubin is dumb. He's a dumb person.
Mhm.
Ben
Uh,
Shapiro,
who's
hmm?
who's the guy with the mug club?
Mud Club. Are you talking about
Yeah,
like Gavin McGinnis or
no, Steven Crowder is like 10 out of
Crowder?
10 dumb.
Yeah, he's just dumb. He is just dumb. He's like the literally fascism is actually communism because the government does a thing, right? That's his like that's his audience. Oh yeah, yeah. So this is those people are dumb. Ben Shapiro is a smart person. Ben
Oh yeah,
Shapiro went to Harvard. Ben Shapiro has written papers. Ben Shapiro isn't dumb. He's disingenuous.
oh
Like
yeah,
I
absolutely.
remember, he's went to Harvard. He's done studies. He read a study, and the study showed that kids with who grow up in single parent households usually have worse outcomes than kids who grow up in two parent households. And he said this is why gay relationships are bad. Like unironically, I was like, holy crap, he's not dumb. This is just this. He knows what he's doing. He couldn't say it with
Oh
a
yeah,
straight face. I
oh yeah,
swear.
absolutely.
Holy,
He's a good propagandist because
he is.
he can look at whatever data he wants and he can twist it into
Get
whatever
whatever
he
he
wants.
wants. Listen, Daddy Shapiro, tell me more about the bad Jews. Did you see his take on that?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, it didn't hit. Yeah, he's like there are good Jews and there are bad Jews, and the bad Jews are the ones that vote for Democrats, and we are the good Jews, the real Jews, and the other
Uh,
ones. Yeah, it's the same thing
I
that
mean,
those Nazis do. Like it's the difference between like cultural like cultural Jews and like genetic Jews.
yeah. A woos.
Yeah, sell your house to
I would
Aquaman.
I would also say that's him being disingenuous. He knows that they're not going to sell their houses, but he wants to make it seem like there are ways out for them.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, definitely. And people will run with it. They'll think this is a smart point. He'll say it, and then you'll actually see it in the real world. It's amazing. It's almost like they're NPCs. But yeah, no. My biggest goal with this discussion was, I remember you saying there's only a handful of like cis or whatever, like cishet people in your life that you feel like have actually sat down and listened to what you had to say. And my goal with this was definitely to be one of those, right? I wanted to like come in here with like an open mind and open heart, and I wanted you to do most of the talking, and hopefully I've done that, and make you feel like you actually were listened to.
You are getting up to the double digits. We're now at 10, folks.
Oh, are we? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's amazing. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you Sloth for being here. Thank you Darkness for being here. Awooz, Ink and Teeth, Groundhog, all of you.
Gale, if they're still in chat. Or
Yeah. Mix Gale.
Yep. Are you going to be raiding out, or are you going to play Gungeon?
I'm probably gonna. I gotta pee. I'm probably gonna get out of here. I got work tomorrow. The wage cage calls. He beckons.
If you want, can you raid that person for me?
Who is it?
It is my good friend Irene, also known as No Comment Check. She does politics streams usually every day, but she's had midterms recently. And she streams really late, so and right now she's not doing any of the Iowa stuff.
Yeah.
And so a lot of her numbers are falling at the moment.
What's can you send me it? And
yeah, put it in your chat, but I can send it to you as well.
Oh, did you? Oh, my bad.
That's good. There we go.
Here it is. I've only rated once. I think I failed at it.
I know Shark likes to be called Chris. I assume you're all right with that?
What should you call you? By the way, you can listen. You can call me Shark. You can call me Dad. You can call me Chris. Either one works, depending on how you're feeling. Chris.
By the way, folks, we are literally two away from the biggest goal that you need for affiliate right now, right?
Yes, that's the biggest goal.
Okay. Do we have 2 people unfollowed here right now? Because fucking follow. $5.
$5 a month. Look at this. There's a wall of non-subs. This is really heartbreaking to me, because you really don't respect me as a content creator. What do you have a take? Do you have a take on the Bad Bunny stuff?
My thing is that we all have to hustle as Twitch streamers.
Yes.
And so if you're doming your chat, fucking go ahead.
Is it? What do you think? Is it a little aggressive?
I mean, so her persona is that she's dominating her chat, kind of.
Yes. It's a femdom kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Don't let me kink shame. My bad.
So like, I'm not really into it, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Is it spelled right? I want to make sure I spelled the name right.
No comment check. Yeah.
It's /right? There we go. All right. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Mecha, one more time, I'd like to thank you so much for this talk. I'm glad everybody had fun.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Okay, I'm going to head out.
Yeah, have a good night.
See you. Thank you for having me again.
No problem. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. That was some good stuff right there.
In terms of the fortunes of his candidacy, Joe Biden.
What's up, Shark30?
It's me. It is I. I have arrived.
Oh, hey, Mecha.
We jamming out
Did
here.
you hear,
All right. There you go. That's it for me, everybody. Hope you had fun. I'll be live again tomorrow. Same as every day.